song to start with as well. Light and airy. I like it. Let's hope that the stream is actually going. There we go. Sup, ladies and gentlemen, Akelon here. And of course, welcome back to each and every one of you. We have a wonderful show today. We're going to be reacting to some Il'gynoth whispers. We're going to be reacting to some giant Dragonflight spoilers. And also, we're going to be watching the new Diablo video. And we may fit a couple of things extra in there. It's not going to be the longest stream because the specific Dragonflight spoilers, I have to edit that video and upload that video before the end of the day. The longer I wait to edit and upload it, the worse it gets. Digital Pope, how you doing, bro? I don't want to miss the rush on this video because it is massive. It harkens back to like the days of Legion. You guys remember when we got all of those whispers, right? When the whispers for Xal'atath started coming out and the whispers for Il'gynoth started coming out, and it basically just pushed the lore of World of Warcraft into a whole new direction. That's sort of the level of spoilers we're talking about today. So I'm very excited for it. I shared it on Twitter, so I'm sure there's a lot of people that's very excited for this. Twitter is abuzz with it, so we're going to be reacting to that, the Diablo stuff as well. I haven't seen that video yet. I did mark it to watch it later. So yeah, and then also obviously the Il'gynoth whispers that we have to look at. Digital Pope, how you doing, fam? I hope your day's been well. I spent the whole of yesterday editing videos like crazy. And yeah, at least I have 4 videos that is ready to be uploaded. So that saves a little bit of time. It gives us a few days of leeway that we can just sort of stream and don't have to worry about video editing as well. I'm gonna have to find a better schedule to do all of this shit in, YouTube videos and streaming and because the YouTube Shorts is now a new thing that I'm doing as well, which I wouldn't say it's going crazy well, but also I don't really understand Shorts. I don't understand the idea behind them, I guess. Anyways, how's everyone doing? Alderzan, how you doing, fam? Good evening to you. I hope you're doing well. It is, of course, 6 o'clock, so yes, technically speaking, evening. Morning for me, though. I only woke up like 2 hours ago. So technically speaking, this is my morning. You wouldn't say it, though. I still feel tired. I didn't sleep well today. I'm not sure why. But we'll wake up. We'll wake up in time, I'm sure. Just sort of waiting for everyone to show up. For everyone to get here, for all the hellos and the jubilations to happen, and then we'll get into the first react for the day, if you guys don't mind. Because yeah, like I said at the beginning of the stream, it's not going to be the longest stream today. I'm looking at like 2, maybe 3 hours of stream. Obviously, depending on how long it takes us to get through everything. But yeah, I have to edit the video that we're going to be making today as quickly as I can and get it uploaded as quickly as I can, because yeah, it's one of those things. If you're not first, you're lost kind of thing. And especially if you're a smaller YouTuber, as soon as someone like Balula or Taliesin or any of these guys pick it up and they put it out there, you're late. You may as well not put it out because everyone's already seen it. Now it's old news. Jace Walker, how you doing, fam? Welcome everyone. Welcome. Very happy to have you guys here. Time is money. Alison, yeah, in a way. I mean, technically speaking, it doesn't matter when you upload videos, right? You can upload a video whenever you want. The only time it sort of matters is when what you're dealing with is time sensitive, like this, so gaming news, for example, or World of Warcraft reveals, PTR reveals and stuff like that. Those things tend to be very time sensitive because you want to get to it as quickly as possible before anyone else has been able to get to it, because like I said, as soon as the big guys get on it, so as soon as Balilev made his video, as soon as Taliesin has made his video, now you're just late, right? You're just late to the party. You may as well not put it out because everyone's already seen it. You're basically just adding a little bit of context. The only thing that saves me in this regard would be we speculate a lot more than any of the other channels on YouTube. So most of the things we cover also comes with a ton of speculation, which obviously works out because that's what I like doing. Whereas other channels tend to just cover it and just sort of be like, oh my god, this is so interesting. Metal Fan from Hell, how you doing, fam? Welcome back. Evans, how you doing, man? Very happy to have you here. The Dark Lord, how you doing, fam? I hope you guys are doing well. Seven Raven, how you doing? Yeah, it's gonna be... I think it's gonna be a wild one. Anyways, what have you guys been up to? You know, since I couldn't stream yesterday, I'm assuming there's much news. Much have changed. Tyson, how you doing, bro? Last time I asked about your thoughts on limited events in WoW, but forgot to elaborate on what exactly I had in mind. What I meant by limited one-time events was something akin to the intermezzo events in Arknights. I don't have a fucking clue what any of that means, but okay. Basically side stories that don't really fit the current story expansion with free cosmetics. After the event is over, the story can still be played and some cosmetics earned. Some would just be earned as a reward for participating during the event, though. I mean, I'm going to say the same thing that I said the last time you asked me about it. I think it's a good idea, but I think it can also backfire tremendously badly. You see, because... So there's always sort of two things going on at the same time that you have to be very careful of. The one is the actual thing that you're doing and how people will experience that. You know, and if it's a really good thing you're doing, people are going to really enjoy it and it's going to be good. But then you also have the psychological effect that something might have. Limited time event stuff almost always have a very angry reaction from the community. Mainly because no matter what time you choose, there's almost always going to be people that can't participate for whatever reason. Even if you made it a month, you know, that month, this guy is going to the hospital and he's going to be out of commission for a month, or whatever the case may be. So there's always going to be people that can't do it. There's always going to be people that feel pressed for time. And so what ends up happening is you taint very good content with unnecessary anger. Whereas it is almost always better if you're going to put out content for people and it's going to be side stories, which is the part that I love. Side stories is good. And I want to see more side stories in World of Warcraft. There's nothing wrong with that. But why do you want to taint your side story with unnecessary anger? Because that is what's going to happen. The Dark Lord, if your screen is frozen, just hit refresh. Because no one else seems to be struggling with this right now. So it's nothing that I can do, right? My Noir, how you doing, fam? Good some bug, been feeling a little shit. Shit, Aldzen, that's never good, right? Is anyone else having stream problems? Like, has anyone else's stream froze or whatever? Everyone else is good. All right, well, just... All right, okay, cool stuff, Dark Lord. If something, like, if streams freeze, first thing you do, always, is just hit refresh. That should be your first order of business. Hit the refresh button. Basically, refreshing is the equivalent of turning it on and off again. Or off and on again. That's what you should do. Just hit the refresh button. If that doesn't fix it, then maybe there's a bigger problem there. But usually, you know, it is Twitch. Twitch is a multi-dollar company because they can't get their streaming shit to work. Peter Lee, how you doing? Null Turtle Dark, how you doing, fam? that makes sense. In that case, just side stories would be good enough. Yeah, I don't mind side stories at all. And if you're gonna do it like yearly time events, I feel like players sort of accept those a little bit better because there's already like timed events in World of Warcraft that is yearly, and I think those are fine for the most part. So if you wanted to do like side story timed events, it would have to be yearly. So every year it repeats. That sort of limits the amount of side story that you can have because you can't have the same side story happening every year. Because then it's not really like your story's going to be very limited in what you can actually do with it. Unless, of course, it's a story tied to the Bronze Dragonflight, for example, in which case it's just time travel, and that would work. But yeah, I would say, generally speaking, just put side stories into the game that people can achieve and do sort of at their own. And I also think that the problem with, like, that I have with timed events is it also limits your ability to develop it. Because I know why companies do this. I know why Blizzard does it. I know why many other gaming companies like these timed events bullshit that they put in the games, because ultimately it guarantees a lot of engagement over the course of whatever time period this limited time events run. But it limits the amount of effort that you can put into the content that you make, right? Because if it's a limited time event, you can't make it too intricate. You can't make it too long. Let's say, for example, you have a limited time event that lasts 2 weeks. You can't make the quests take 2 weeks. Because there's going to be people that's going to miss the first few days, and what the hell do they do now? There's physically just not enough time left for them to actually do the content, so they're just not even going to start. Or they're going to start and be very pissed off when they finally realize, oh, it's over now, and I didn't finish the story. So you're sort of almost, if you do limited time events, you're limited on how long it can take for people to do it. So if it's a 2-week limited time event, it has to take no more than a few days in order to complete, so that everyone can complete it in time. I would be much happier with just add the content, let it be there, let it exist. It's the same sort of thing that I have with World of Warcraft now and their time walking events. Even though time walking events have become far more prevalent, and it happens all the time, I can't understand why we don't just have time walking perma on. So if you feel like doing the time walking stuff for, Wrath of the Lich King, you go and you go do it. No matter what time it is, if you feel like some Wrath of the Lich King raids or some Wrath of the Lich King dungeons, you go and you go do them, right? I don't like this sort of, every 2 weeks we have a new time walking schedule. I don't understand the concept behind that. Or every month. I don't even know how often it happens. I do know it's on a rotation. Maybe it's like every month or some shit. Old Man Moda, how you doing, fam? I reject FOMO. All the money I've sunk into games as soon as the game turns out the light, so it's meaningless to me. Someone's good to gear alts. Yeah, time walking is great to gear alts, but I don't want to remove time walking. I just want time walking to be always on. If I could turn time walking on always, I would basically make time walking the premier way of doing dungeons, regardless of your level. So if you're leveling, and you're, say, in Wrath of the Lich King, and you're signing up for a Wrath of the Lich King dungeon, you get put into groups with other people that's running the same shit, right? So if you're running Utgard Pinnacle, for example, but you're still low level, right? You're still leveling through Wrath of the Lich King, then all of the people that's signing up for the time walking Utgard Pinnacle get thrown into your group, and you just have a sort of level scale. Which means lower level people get much more groups that they can play with. They also get to see high level people, so they get to play with people that is actually at max level, so they get to see what they get to look forward to with their classes. It makes the community feel a lot more alive, because I'll tell you, the amount of times that I've leveled a new character, tried to go into a dungeon, and it takes almost an hour to get a dungeon to pop, mainly because, well, you're shut out of luck, right? No one's doing it right now. to switch to a different X-Pack. It's kind of fun because the Wheel of Dungeons has spun and I never know what's going to show up. Yeah, I don't know. I personally, I would prefer if Blizzard found a way for, like, I've said this before, but there has to be a way for high-level players and low-level players to play together. Because as a low-level player, seeing high-level players is really fun. Because it's something that you get to look forward to. I'll never forget running around in Shattrath City and seeing high-level warlocks with their amazing gear and, you know, being super excited like a little child for when I can finally get this gear, you know? What kind of side stories would you want? Oh, Tyson, that's too much of a question, bro. That's the kind of question I would have to think about long and hard. The thing we're going to be going through today is one of those that I think Blizzard is doing really well. And more of that could definitely work. But the question you're asking there would take hours for me to sort of figure out on stream. But I do think there's enough sort of potential for story in World of Warcraft that Blizzard could absolutely get away with more side stories in World of Warcraft. I do think that is possible. Mainly stories that wouldn't be good enough to really go into the main storyline. Actually, I think World of Warcraft already does like Dragonflight at least, does a pretty decent job of side stories. There's like a number of really cool side stories in the game. I don't know if have you played have you played it at all? Because I'm not sure if you have or haven't. But if you've played Dragonflight, you'll understand there's like a shit ton of side stories in Dragonflight that I think is really good. You know, and what's nice is they allowed the developers to sort of come up with their own side stories in a lot of these things. Which I think is really cool. The Dragon Spa side story was cool. Dude, the coolest side story in Dragonflight was the one where you just sat and spoke to the dwarf dragon. That has to be the greatest side story of all time. Just sitting there listening to his story. And it actually being a fucking awesome story. I mean, and it's such a simple thing, right? It's literally just a guy sitting there telling you a story. And yet you're just locked into this. At least I was. I was completely, oh my god, let's go. This is the coolest shit ever. So yeah, stuff like that I think works really well. Off topic, but was watching your Warhammer stuff on YouTube. You started collecting an army yet? No, not yet, Old Mamoto. The only one I have is the one that you painted for me still. I've been on the collecting books. Warhammer books. That's been my addiction so far. It's just trying to grab as many books as humanly possible. Did you do the honoring our ancestors in Honora? I don't know. I may have. Sam Raven? Yeah, the Tales of the Jordan does a very similar thing. I've gone through that one as well. Not in-game, though. Yeah, I'll take another one. Fuck yeah. Skaranar, you bastard with the tier 1 sub, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the most degenerate channel on Twitch. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind, sir. Patlin, how you doing? Old Mamoto, if you're gonna just give me one. It has to be Rabute Gilliman now. Yeah, it has to be Rabute Gilliman. If you can make any of them, that's the one that I would want. Rabute Gilliman, hands down. I'm a loyalist, bro. Can't help it. Like I have said this before, I am a loyalist to my core. I mean, Xenos is fine when they're dead, but yeah, you know, you have Rabute Gilliman, You have Lionel Johnson, also super fucking cool. Helmet or face? Whichever's easiest for you, bro. I mean, face, probably. But you could also do just helm in hand sort of thing. Because he actually prefers to walk without his armor, right? Unless he's in combat. He prefers to be around without his armor. So maybe just helmet in hand kind of thing? Or they put their helms on, like, a hook on their belt, don't they? Like, their helms hang to the side if they don't have them on. Hey, everyone, and hey, Akalon. Finally had time to hop on and see you live, so I wanted to show off some appreciation for all the stuff you do and fun I had with your content. Scaronar, I really appreciate that. And very happy to have you here, bro. I hope you're going to fit right in. I think it's a fun place to be. Old Man Moto. I can't wait to fucking open that shit. Can't wait to open that shit on stream. Just let me know before you send it, though, because I have moved. Or you can just send it to the P.O. box in the, like, below. There's a P.O. box down below that I've added, so you can just send it there if you want. Damn, you're fast. Old Man Moto is pretty good. I mean, you guys have seen this, right? Like, I would say this is pretty fucking cool. Like, look at that. It's pretty good fucking paint job, that is. You know? I like it. It's getting lonely, though. I should probably get a couple more orcs. Yeah, this is like one of the coolest things ever. I love the detail on it. Grofile, how you doing, bro? I want an entire table full of these things, but like on a battlefield. So build like a proper battlefield table and just have all of my minis on there. The hell's a Bandalore? I don't know what the hell that is. Do you mean the gun? What's a Bandalore? I have no idea what the fuck that is. The strap across the chest. Is that what that's called? I do not know that that's what that's called, though. Like, if I could be, like, if I could have the perfect thing, I would have it right here on my mic. Just looking at the stream. You know, just watching you guys do your shit. But, yeah, it doesn't work. There's not an adhesive strong enough to keep this shit on there. It eventually just falls off. I've tried. Sad days. Nate Miniatures YouTube Akalon will teach you how to make your own terrain tiles and stuff at home. And how hard can it be? I mean, for me, it's going to be very hard because I am not artistic at all. But I understand the concepts, right? You're going orcs? Profile, no. This is my character, right? So Old Man Moto painted this for me about 6 months ago or something, Old Man. And it's my orc. If you look at my all of my profile pictures, it's the orc, right? And this is the orc. But no, you guys know I'm a loyalist through and through. If I'm gonna stop my own army, it's gonna be Ultramarine, 100%. And then it's gonna be the Dark Angels. That's Lionel Johnson's, right? Dark Angels. And then my newest favorite, which would be the Black Templars. Is it called Black Templars? Yeah. Right? And an artist, but paint and build minis myself. Yeah, I'm. That's probably my three favorites: the Dark Angels, Lionel Johnson, the Ultramarines, and Rabute Gilliman, and then the Black Templars. I'm a proud Krieg boy. The Krieg are also really cool. I don't mind the Krieg, but I mean, you compare them to like the Space Marines, and the Space Marines will fucking shit on them. Fuck that. The other thing that I want is to do some World of Warcraft statues. It's sad that World of Warcraft doesn't have minis, because that could be really cool as well. Lucky, can someone ban that guy? Thank you so much, Minor. I really appreciate that. I don't want to become famous. Lucky, go fuck yourself. Kindly. Having a whole huge diorama of a battle would be amazing, like that Halo 3 trailer from way back. Ha, can you imagine? Like, just all armies coming together, just fucking rushing the battlefield. That'd be so cool. If you really wanted to make it cool, although I don't know how the hell you would do that, but you then cast it all in resin. So imagine, for example, you could do it to where explosions happen, and then you have these things flying. So you have the mini sort of flying and cut in half, but it's all in resin. So when you look at it from the side, it really looks like a battlefield, but it's all captured in time, frozen in resin, so to speak. I think it would take you literal years to do all of that, but it could be super cool. To an army, I'll say new things as I can because I'm a degenerate and I have too much free time. Oldman Moto, if I'm going to commit to an army, Dark Angels. Like, if I'm gonna commit to an army, it's gonna be Dark Angels. Because the Ultramarines are cool, but the, like, fucking Lionel Johnson, man, that dude is whack. Apocalypse, how you doing, bro? Like Niflheim and Storm Peaks, I can turning into Trazen. Exactly. You basically have, like, a Trazen-esque kind of battlefield. Well, first you heard of what? I wish I still had the picture of my dad's exhibition army, 6th edition, 9.5k points army. Most battles were 1.5 to 2k points. Took up the entire living room floor to have them out, all painted. But that was D&D, or was it Warhammer? Gorval, I love the Dark Angels, bro. After learning about Lionel Johnson, how can you not? Dark Angels are the tryhard army. They just win in all editions. Then that's exactly what I want. I like playing with the best. Then I'll wait. His model is rumored to be coming soon. You mean the Lionel Johnson one? Oh, yeah. We're going to see him come back. And he has to come back because I have it on good authority that Angron is wrecking shit right now. Are there figures for D&D? Like, does D&D have a figurine tabletop game, or do most people just collect the figures for fun? Right, they just do. Well, it makes sense that they're the best, right? Because they're sort of good at everything. People do use figurines in D&D. A lot? Shit, okay. Icehound, how you doing, fam? Alright, shall we watch the Diablo 4 video? It's a brand new Diablo 4 video. It released 22 hours ago. And it's gonna show us the world of Sanctuary. Had a bunch of D&D pewter cost figurines. Good authority. The sound of screams in the distance. Old Man Moto. So someone in chat actually told me this. I don't know how many of you are clued on with the sort of the rule sets and stuff, but apparently the new rule books have Angron wrecking the Imperium. Like, Angron is just going fucking ham on the Imperium. He is wrecking shit right now. So they need Lionel Johnson now more than ever. Because I don't think Rabute Gilliman is enough to keep the anger of Angron at bay. And obviously we can't have the Imperium lose. Like, what the fuck would that be about? Hope he wins. Well, you can go fuck yourself, Evans. You and Grofile. You Xenos-loving cunts. Abaddon, I don't know. But yeah, maybe. Maybe it is a good idea for Rabute Gilliman to sort of be the leader of the Imperium, and then for Lionel Johnson to become the War Master, like the Emperor actually wanted to do. Because that, I think, would actually push. I just wonder, what is Lionel Johnson going to do when he gets back and realizes that everyone is worshipping the Emperor as if the Emperor is a god? Brute weapon to match Angron. Gilliman is nice and all, but sometimes you just need to brute force it, and that weapon is the Lion. Quick question. Has the WoW stuff already been spoken about? No, the Grim Reaper. Not yet. No, there was a new one. Hope you all are having a good day. Hope you're having a good day too, Grim Reaper. And the Lion with Rabute, making sure he has the tools he needs to do his thing, will rip shit up. Bro, the golden age of humanity is about to return, and once it does, we are going to fuck shit up. Like, the galaxy will be ours once more. And I think the first thing we'll do is we'll go kill all the Tau. That's probably the first thing we'll do. We'll kill all of the Tau. So that, you know, fuck them. We don't need them. And then I think the next step would be to take out maybe the orcs. We'll kill all the orcs, right? Because I think that's a good idea as well. Get all the orcs off the map as well. Traxiton, how you doing, bro? And then I think we'll leave the not the Eridar. What are they called again? The Eldari. We'll leave them for second last. The Necrons we'll leave for last. Because I think the Necrons are going to be the one that takes the longest. The Necrons might be the hardest one, because they're pretty advanced. It might take a while to get them. And then once we've killed all the enemies of humanity, you know, all of the Xenos cunts, then we'll take the war to the Chaos Gods. Get them, you know, give them a good old spanking. And once we have peace in our galaxy again, we can let the Emperor die. And then once the Emperor is reborn within the warp, he is now truly a god. All hail the Emperor, of course. Emperor protects and all that. But now the Emperor can really protect because he's really a god now. Yeah, but we'll kill the spores too. Imperium tries to ruin the Necrons. Necrons make Sun go supernova. Not when we have the golden age of humanity return. Who wouldn't like that? The Emperor. He would if he's an actual god. I was in, yeah, pretty much. We turn, after many, many years, we turn the long, in the grim darkness of the far future, there is only the Imperium. Not peace, the Imperium. Loyalists unite. The Golden Age is lost. I'll bet it can't even function under the minds of the Imperium. It can. We just need Lionel Johnson back, bro. Me eating beans on toast for a while? Just dropped 25k? On what, Abaddon? What the hell did you just spend 25k on? Landscapers. Why, though? Why would you spend that much money on what the fuck? I wouldn't do that. Like, just leave the garden as it is. not golden age, the imperial age is coming, getting all the front and back garden sorted out, yeah, I would just leave it as it is. There is not a single, like, it doesn't matter what my garden looks like, there will never be a moment that I go, right, I'll drop 25k here to fix this fucking mess. I'll just live in the mess. But I would never do that. Ever. Extra K for you, brother? Shit. Fucking troll. 25k is an awful lot there. I had drains and new plants and lawn taken care of in my large backyard, and I spent only 2k. Yeah, I don't know. Like, who the fuck charges 25k? What are they doing? Building you a new Earth? Like, dude, you could probably just get, like, a guy that's out of a job. Pay him a K or two, and he'll do it for you. I don't think you needed to spend 25k. It feels like you've just been fleeced. The F, did they do that? Did they do for that? I hope it had a happy ending at least. For that, what needs to happen, if they're going to charge you 25k to do your back garden, what needs to happen is you need to be getting a blowjob literally for every day that they work all day. That's the only way that 25k would be worth it. Like, all the workers arrive, right? And they start digging. A very hot chick walks up to you, drops to her knees, starts sucking your cock. As soon as they're done with their work for the day, she gets up and wipes her mouth and leaves. And tomorrow morning, same thing, right? Just every day, that's how it happens. Then probably worth 25k. Otherwise, there's no amount of shit that people can do in the garden that would be worth that. Might even be the contract. First quote was 45k, so pretty proud of how much I got off the second quote. It feels too much still. The cement that they build for you, I know that in the US is very expensive for whatever reason. And we're off headlong into degeneracy. We started in degeneracy. We're basically just living up to the name now. 8 hours of blowjob sounds like it's an Ash torture. Not necessarily. If she's really good. Because remember, you're going to come, and then she's going to give you half an hour, right? Just to recoup, you know, get a drink, get some fluids in you, maybe a snack that she's going to make for you because you're fucking paying 25 grand here. And then as soon as you're ready, she gets back to work, you know? Without getting to minutes, natural stone. Abaddon, I still think you fucking overpaid. I think you could have done it cheaper. Like, I think Growfile said earlier, you should have just bought a shovel, and you could probably have done it for cheaper. Is it an investment, though, Abaddon? I'll tell you, for example, what happens in South Africa quite often. So people in South Africa will often build swimming pools, right? And they build the swimming pools because they think it's an investment, right? You're building a swimming pool in your house. Of course, that's going to drive up the price of your house. As it turns out, it does not drive up the price of your house. What a swimming pool does is it drives the price of your house down. Because no one wants to deal with the effort of having a fucking swimming pool. I don't think the 25k that you spent on the garden is going to drive the price of your house up by 25k. I would suck a dick if you break even on this. What effort? You just hire a pool boy? By God, waste, it's still effort, right? And pools is basically like a constant expense. They cost a lot of money to uphold and upkeep and shit like that. Lucid Ghost, thanks so much, dude. Really appreciate it. Welcome to the channel. We fell for the oldest psychological trick in the book. Said the first quote is ridiculously high, so the still really overpriced actual quote seems a lot better. If we stoned out our garden in the house I'm at now, it would cost about 15k to put it up, by 50k to sell the house. I don't agree with that. I don't know. Maybe it does. I would be well surprised if it actually does. Maybe I'm just different. Maybe I'm genuinely just built different because when I look at a house, a garden usually drives the price down for me. Like if they tell me, "Oh my god, and look at all this garden," the only thing I think of is, "Oh my god, look at all this fucking work." Like I would actually pay more for a house that doesn't have a garden than a house that does. Cornish Granite, like townhouse, big money. As I'm sure I did background checks on both companies. Same for me, to be honest. I hate gardens. It's just more work to look after. Dude, the amount of time that I don't spend outside, a garden is wasted on me. Plus, when I do go outside, I go to the fucking beach, right? It's just down the road from me. And no matter what you do in your garden's never gonna look as good as the fucking ocean. So I could literally just go down to the beach. Lucius Babby, how you doing? Whoa. Did you unfollow at a point? Lucius Babby, welcome back. Welcome back. Pools are one thing because they need ongoing maintenance, but a nice patio is very low maintenance. It's also very unimportant. The beach doesn't grow you food. Mike, how many people do you know that grow food in their fucking back garden? Dude, most people today think the food is grown in their supermarket. Very few people grow their own food in their back garden. Like, there's a few people that will grow herbs in their back garden and be like, oh yeah, I grow all this myself. Saying, fuck off. Like, it's just herbs, bro. I buy my herbs and it takes like 2 seconds. It's not a problem. I don't think most people grow their own shit in their garden. Level it out and look nice, etc. But it'll give me somewhere to put the water catchment system, and I'm putting in grow beds in other parts of the garden. I needed to get away from Warcraft and unfollowed a lot of streamers. Oh shit. It was just a little too unhealthy, but I'm back and I've missed you all. Missed you too, Latius Babby. Wait, what was unhealthy? World of Warcraft or the anger of World of Warcraft? Telling me food doesn't respawn inside the market? No, not really, but that's where most people get it, so I guess it makes sense, right? Digital Pope. I was so invested in that story, and it turns out everything's just gone to shit. That's funny as fuck, that is. I like that. Oh my god. Yeah, I wouldn't grow my own food. Not unless it's on a farm. Since I've watched Clarkson's farm now, and I'm almost done with season 2, I think I'm ready to own my own farm and start growing my own food, you know, and food for everyone else. But yeah, I don't know. It just seems, again, like a lot of effort. Farming game in the future thing? I don't know if I would. No, probably not. Doesn't your dad have a farm still? Yeah, my dad has a farm. Although my dad doesn't grow anything on his farm. Well, he does, but not for consumption. What my dad grows is eaten by the cows and the sheep. But my dad doesn't do planting. Planting is a dangerous game because you can lose a lot of money really fast. Whereas, yeah, my dad just has cows and sheep and wildlife, right? So hunting. Still impressive. He turned a profit in the worst farming year for this country ever, even if it was only like 150 pounds. It wasn't even 150 pounds, Apocalypse. It ended up being like his profit was like 44 pounds. But I mean, yeah, sure. What I'm surprised by is how little money farmers make in the UK. It's actually a little surprising to me. So farmers in South Africa, let's just talk about like medium farmers, right? So basically your bog standard farmer in my dad's area. Most of them grow potatoes. Like potatoes is the big one for them. Um, so wait, let me just see quickly because you guys use acres. Lassie is Babby with the 3 community subs. Hearts in chat, ladies and gentlemen. 3 new people for the DJ Nation. Appreciate that, Lassie is Babby. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind. Okay, let's just quickly see here. Acres in a hectare or hectares in an acre? I'm not sure. So 1 acre is like half a hectare. No, not quite half, but almost half. Let's just say half. So basically, these guys normally, what's like a medium-sized farm in that area? Medium-sized would probably be like, okay. So basically, these guys usually, they'll farm on about 494 acres, right? 200 hectares, which they'll usually farm on. Is that correct? That's not correct. It probably is, but never mind. Okay, so these guys on that level farm, they'll take out about in one harvest, it's like 200 million, somewhere around there, 200 million that they'll take out. That's 200 million rand. So for this, we have to go rand to pound. Rand to pound, and so you have 200 million. What's that? 910,000 pounds that they'll get off of that farm. So basically, the same farm that Jeremy has. I don't know why farmers in the UK make so little fucking money. See, but the subsidies also don't make sense to me. Let me see. Do South African farmers get subsidies? I'm not sure. Applicants who want to farm may apply for an ALRAD grant, but have to make a contribution either in cash or in labor to a minimum of 5,000 rand. More if the grant is larger. Grants vary from a minimum of 20,000 to a maximum of 100,000. So basically, farmers in South Africa may end up with like 5,000 pound grants. May end up with like a 5,000 pound grant. And like I said, they tend to they tend to make so much more fucking money. Basically, a summary of the EU. It's a protectionist bloc. It was designed to keep French farmers happy as they're very expensive, while at the same time it flooded the British market with cheap produce from Eastern Europe, destroying the market, making them reliant on the subsidies. It's so wild to me. Like, genuinely wild to me. Because here, farmers are ridiculously rich. I mean, with one good harvest, you're a millionaire. Then again, our farmers do, like, I know a guy, the biggest farmer I know of in South Africa, farms on this, right? So this is what he farms on. 494,210 acres. That's his farm. That's the largest guy I know of. And all of that is potatoes. It's the larger guy I know of. The other guy I know of, I don't know how large his farm is, because... So he basically, what he does is he goes to struggling farmers, then he buys their farms, and then they farm for him. And he basically sells fertilizer, fuel, feed, all that shit, right? So he basically, like, I don't think I can calculate how big his farm is, but the farm is probably millions of acres. Potatoes. Stick them in a stew. How big is that in a state? Like, is that Georgia? I'm not sure. Want to make it rich? Farm bananas. Countries have literally been invaded or have had leaders replaced with a coup d'etat over them. Potatoes, I would say, is the big one here. At least in Limpopo. Like the northern parts of South Africa. Potatoes would be like the biggest one. But yeah, the farmers here, they're massive. The amount of farming they do is absolutely insane. And they're very rich. Because most of them also export all of their goods. Now, I mean, currently exporting most of our farming goods fetches you a handsome price. Because you basically get double what you would get in South Africa for your exported goods. Would you use anything else as a unit of measure than the metric system? Okay, what do the Americans use to determine the size of farmland? What's the system that you guys use? Do you use acres, hectares, or you guys also use acres? Man, I don't know why you guys use acres. Hectares, well, at least we use hectares. We used to use acres. So South Africa was actually on the imperial system up until the 80s. And then in the 1980s, basically the country shifted to the metric system. And so, you know, everything had to change over from acres to hectares, meter, feet became meters and shit like that. Sometimes we use metrics of football fields too. Or use both acre and hectare depending how big the property is. We basically just use hectares here. Use acres in the UK. I think that's mainly because the land parcels, you see them separate by hedges, are in acre blocks. That's another thing that's wild to me. So if we go... Like, South Africans do not farm that way. Like, if you look at South African farms, there's no hedges and shit like that. It is just farming, bro. Like, it's just nuts. I'm trying to see. Let's go. This is where my dad farms, right? In Limpopo. They've basically destroyed nature. Like, there's nothing. If you drive from Polokwane to my dad's, sort of area, because it's not a town, it's just an area that he lives in. There's no nature whatsoever. It's literally just farmland as fucking far as the eye can see. We could probably do Google Maps. Let's see. No, man. Just give me Google Maps. Where the hell are we? Oh, we're in Cape Town. Never mind. Alright, so we want to go a little bit more up. This is Lesotho. This is Johannesburg. Okay, here we go. This is Polokwane. So this is where I used to live, right? Over here. So we zoom in here. And now I need to see Can't say half of these names. What side was it again? I want to say it was to this side, but I could be wrong. I need to see the right town. Batimur, Taba, Leshoba, Lefania. That's not where it is. Okay, so you have Polokwane, you have Blood River. That's the wrong way. Okay, Doornbolt, Dalmada. Dalmada, Doornbolt. It might be around here somewhere. Where would you find... I don't even know if this town, the closest town would be on the fucking map. Because it is small. You basically drive through it in 2 seconds. Hedgefanes competition in Clarkson Farm yet? No, I have not seen that yet. Monkwain. Monkwain sounds... Nooit gedacht. I don't know if that's gonna work, but let's see. Dendron. So this is Dendron. Where the hell is Polokwane then? Did it give me the right one? Okay, yeah, gave me the right one. Okay, so this is Dendron. All of this is farmland, right? Let's see if it actually... I don't know if it's gonna zoom in. I genuinely don't know if there would be any sort of view that's better than this. I don't think so. Because this is out in the middle of fucking nowhere. Just this is literally out in the middle of nowhere. I don't think there is like any satellite footage of it. There should be though, no? Okay, here we go. I don't know how up to date it would be though. Because it would be a waste of money to take pictures here. I don't know what these circles are, though. Oh, I think I know what this is. This is like some weird farmer. I can't remember what he grows, but... Anyways, so this is... Trying to see... But you can see here, it's all just fucking farmland or soon to be farmland. Like, this is the road you drive on, and as far as the fucking eye can see, it's just farmland that's been destroyed to be, or bush that's been destroyed to become new farmland. Won't let me zoom in as much as I would like to, though. Since circles are most efficient. Not everyone farms with circles, but there are a few that do. For specific things. This is my dad's. This is the closest town to my dad, would be here. Here's the Soutpansberge, which is, I believe, the longest mountain range in South Africa because it fucking runs forever. But yeah, here you can see this is all farmland, right? Like these roads that you see here, it's just middle of lands, no hedges, no fucking nothing, just farming as much as they can. What's the name of what? You must go deeper. Don't ask what circles are. Ask what the squares are. Yes, yes, you're beginning to believe. Gara, how you doing, bro? What does it mean? Soutpansberg. So, Soutpansberg. So Soutpan, directly translated, this mountain range here, means salt pan mountain. And the reason it's called Salt Pan Mountain is because all along here, you have massive salt pans. Like, literally just areas that's so salty that nothing fucking grows there. It's just salt. Cows love it, though. Enough that knows the names and meanings. Thank you. Yeah. You'll find that Afrikaans is very on the nose. Like, Afrikaans is incredibly on the nose. We call it as we see it. Oh, look, there's a lot of salt pans here. This is what we'll call it. Soutpansbar. Easy. That's the name now. You have the Drakensberg Mountains, which literally just means Dragon Mountains. And the reason for it is when you look at it from the ocean side, it kind of looks like a dragon. So they just decided that's what you call it. Yeah. Here's one reason the US has stayed using the imperial system. Hold up, let's see this. Advantages to the imperial system over the metric system, really. Why would the US, Liberia, and Myanmar be the only nations not fully embracing metrics? It may surprise you, but the metric system stinks. Both systems have their uses, but the imperial system of units may be more useful to the common man, that is. I have compiled here some interesting excerpts from three different sources that argue the fact. The basis of the argument is that while the metric system of units is based on scientific constants, the imperial system is based on the size of everyday items. An idiotic car park entrance sign in London. Yeah, but no one does that. What do you mean? Okay, so I have never seen the height of a thing be, or like what you drive through, be measured in millimeters. Like, genuinely speaking, I've never seen that. When you drive under something and they want to tell you how high it is, it's in meters. Because this effectively is just 4 meters. 4.2 meters to be specific. Which means basically most things can get through. At least normal things. While the metric units association with physical constants makes them accurate, it makes them less practical for common use. The units of cups and tablespoons developed naturally because these objects were right there in the kitchen. The gram, on the other hand, was not developed with cooking and baking in mind, so it is much smaller than it needs to be for the same reason. The foot and the ounce are also much more user-friendly than their metric counterparts. This is just bullshit. It's just absolute bullshit. Because it all depends on how you think of things. So feet, for me, for example, is completely illogical. Because my first thought is, whose feet? I have large feet. Is it my feet? Or is it someone else's feet? Whose feet? It's not practical. And also, when you say something is this many feet, I have no conceptual idea of how big to imagine that thing to be. Like, I genuinely, like, if you say, oh yeah, this is 5 feet, great. I don't know what that looks like. If you say centimeters, I know what that looks like. I can think in my own head, oh, that's what it looks like. It's this many rulers, for example. So they take 14 feet in inches by this logic. Use metric in chemistry all the time for years. Metric is good, but I don't think in it. Zeros are hard for some people. No shame in that. I personally, so with height, I kind of know, but that's just because I have so many American viewers. So I know that I am 6'1". So I kind of know what 6 foot is, but I only know it because I convert it from centimeters, which is 186 centimeters, or 1.86 meters. Your calendar is 12 months. It's all about what you grew up with, honestly. If you're in an imperial country, to just hate math it into metric when you need to. Do you feel defeated? Snickers and puns. No, I do not. You've got to bear in mind that while we use a decimal system now, it used to be a duodecimal system, i.e. based on 12. The matrix system is actually wrong. They got it close, but their calculations were actually out a bit. Well, considering the fact that it's still used and pretty good, I wouldn't say it's wrong. It works. What other stupid pictures do they have here? Of things that make no fucking sense. No pictures. Just the one stupid picture that basically I think is photoshopped because no one uses this in millimeters. Meant to divide the planet into 360-bit or something. They actually calculated it wrong, so it is out of bit. But yeah, it's a good system. It's a system that I'm most used to. It's a system that I use and I'm happy with it. I like using the matrix system. It works. It works for everything. You try to bake a cake using the matrix system, guess what? It fucking works. You get a cake. How do I know that? Because there's plenty of cakes in South Africa that people baked using the matrix system. And cake is like incredibly fickle. Yeah, but Imperial is weird because it says cups. 2 cups. Whose cups? My cups? What if my cups are bigger than normal cups? Should I still use 2 cups or maybe only quarter of a cup? No, you still need a measurement that is exactly a cup as much as a cup is meant to be. Right? So you can't just use any cup. Therefore, the argument that it's easier is stupid. It's just, yeah, it's another system and that's fine, but it's not easier. Because whether you're going to use grams, ounces, don't get me started on ounces, fuck ounces. No one understands what an ounce is. But if you use grams, you need an actual like measuring cup in grams, right? Because if you need 250 grams, that's what you need, 250 grams. And no one has cups that's like just 250 grams. So it's just weird that people would say it's easier. Anyone who's baking should be using grams anyway, no matter where they live. By God, ways, the thing is, people who bake tend to, like in America, they still use cups and stuff. They don't use grams, cups or ounces. What's a gallon again? It's like 4 point something liters. Makes a gallon, no? Go get my KSM. KSM? Tara, what do you mean? You're missing the real problem, Akko. People who weigh things in stones. Both Matrix and Imperial agree that those people are strange. Oh yeah, stones is just nuts. As far as I know, it's only the UK that still uses stone. Liter is about 32 ounces. Yeah, just use a fucking liter. It's so much easier than goddamn ounces. I'm just shy of 18 stone at the moment. You see, that 18... I have no idea. Is that big? Is that small? Like, what is 18 stone? And what kind of stone? Whose stones? Seeing an American tape measure is so weird to me. 1/8, 1/4 inches, etc. Yeah, just use meters and millimeters, people. It makes it will make life so much easier for you. Must be big, or it would be pebbles. Only people that know that know ounces or stoners. What? Anyways, fuck it. You guys are confusing me. Let's watch some videos, shall we? So this is Diablo 4 inside the game, the world of Sanctuary. Let's see. This is a new video that Blizzard just released. And yes, I am hyped for this game. I can't wait to play it.
Sanctuary is the world in which the story of Diablo takes place, and it's the battleground for the souls of humanity and the fight between angels and demons.
Sanctuary is a vast world, and there'll always be something new in every area, like hordes of enemies, safe haven towns, resources to gather, events, quests, and more.
We wanted to bring Diablo 4 artistically more back towards like Diablo 2, the much darker style. It's
Yeah,
very macabre.
boy! Yeah, boy! I like hearing that. That's exactly what I wanted to hear. That's exactly what I want from a Diablo game. More Diablo 2, Diablo 1 sort of thing. Less Diablo 3. I don't need my game to look cartoony. This is a dark game with a dark story. It needs to look dark and grim. That's the point of it.
The artists and designers have had so much fun working on it, and it's just been a joy to create for us.
How would the people of Sanctuary show their world? What kinds of art would they use to describe the world? One of the things we really wanted to do was make the game feel like a painting.
Everything was built by a wonderful group of people who love Diablo as much as you do.
We'll see.
We have 5 unique zones.
Each of the regions has its own kind of flavor and ambient life.
We take a lot of influence from what our concept artists give us, and I know they take a lot of influence from real life.
There's Kyrgyzstan, which is the sort of desert.
It's amazing with its sweeping sand dunes.
Yeah.
Skosglen, which is inspired by Scotland. Fractured Peaks is inspired by the Carpathian Mountains.
The Dry Steppes is sort of our mountainous desert region, and Hawazar is the swampy region of the south. Whether you're on a mount or on
Does
foot,
look
it's
good,
a
doesn't
joy
it?
to go from one region to the next. Also, the region transitions are really beautiful and stunning to see.
Making sure that it felt sort of geologically true was really important. If you walk from Fractured Peaks into Hawazar, you'll cross all of these waterfalls caused by snowmelt. So you can actually see the snow melting in Fractured Peaks through waterfalls, entering into Hawazar and entering the large basin that fills Hawazar with all of the swamp water.
Oh,
We
nice.
have all the different environments in the overworld, and we tried to make sure there was some parity with those in the dungeons. We have dungeons that are flooded, and there's like moss everywhere. It very much fits in with that Skosglen environment. Kyrgyzstan is all desert, so we have dungeons filled with sand. All the dungeons are particularly placed to make sure that they feel like this is a thing that could be in this part of the
Dude, I'm gonna say it now. This game looks infinitely better than number 3. And it just, oh my god, I can't wait to be in Sanctuary.
world. It fits here, it belongs here.
We definitely redesigned some of the monsters. For example, the Fallen family has gone through a major redesign to make them feel more grim, a little scarier, a little darker, to match the tone of Diablo 4.
Monster families are a way to describe the group of monsters that create a combat experience. So a lot of times there'll be brutes and swarmers, melee or casters, and that's the term that we use to sum up the vampires or the drowned or the undead.
And all of them have unique
Yeah,
abilities, but they all synchronize together. They bolster each other and improve how they work on the battlefield so that every time you fight a pack of, let's say, goatmen, it's always different.
We wanted to make sure that the monster families all felt like they fit in their environments, and so our creature team did a really good job of making these different versions of them that have adapted to their environment. There's snowy goatmen and Fractured Peaks in some of the colder areas versus lightning goatmen around Dry Steppes and kind of the more arid areas. Hawazar has a lot of poison spiders.
Each of the regions has
fucking
its own kind
spiders,
of flavor,
bro.
and it's pretty exciting to discover.
We have some really cool new snake men, the Nangari. We've seen snake men in Diablo before, but these guys are just really twisted amalgamations of multiple snake heads, even human body parts. We have skeletons, we have
Oh, look
undead,
at the
we have
size of that
ghosts.
thing.
All the things that you would expect to find from a Diablo game.
Spiders have been around in Diablo forever, but the spider host was a cool new twist.
It's a giant spider that attaches to a corpse and then puppets it at you. And when you kill it, it explodes with tons of baby spiders. And then those little spiders come after you. And I feel slightly guilty about traumatizing a lot of people with it.
We also have
Nah, it's fine,
wildlife,
fam.
deer, snakes, bugs, dogs. You can pet the dogs, by the way.
So many people asked to pet the dog. It was actually a lot of
Why
hard
is
work
that
to figure out how
always...
to
Why is that a thing now in almost all WoW games? I don't understand. Like, even with World of Warcraft, oh, you can pet this now. All right, I don't give a fuck. Is there anyone that actually goes around and pets animals in the games? Like, the only thing I care about is if I kill this, does it give loot? If it doesn't give loot, then I don't give a fuck. It may as well not be there.
Pet that dang dog. You have so many activities that you might run into. It could be a stronghold, it could be side quests. You might have key dungeons to do. There could be bounties to pick up. You might encounter a world boss. You might encounter
This
an
world boss
invasion
blows
event of
my
some
mind,
kind.
bro.
We have much longer, sort of narrative-heavy side quests, and we have some shorter side quests, so you never feel like you're always doing the same thing. The pacing is always a little bit different. One of the things that I really loved about our announcement was the By 3 They Come cinematic. I was able to build a quest where you actually get to go to those places. You get to go to the town. You get to go inside the chapel. And I work with some incredible dungeon designers to build the dungeon from the cinematic. You're gonna get to go across the bridge that you saw to the actual room where Lilith was summoned. I don't want to spoil too much, but I'm super excited to have players see it.
Sometimes it's kind
Yeah,
of nice
I'm
to just
excited
walk
to see
places
it.
because that's a lot of the times when you see these little events.
You might find a demonic altar that you need to feed your blood to summon demons to then defeat for all of their loot. You might find a ghost child who's trying to find the remains of their parents, and you have to protect them. We have strongholds, which are a sort of large area that you can enter, and it has its own story, its own setup, its own sort of art that sort of tells a very specific story about this location, and those stay unlocked permanently once you've beaten back the darkness.
We did a lot of figuring out the balance between like how much space do we need for players to play through these dungeons versus how much space do we need to make them look cool. My favorite is this one called Endless Gates. It's got these teleporters, and these teleporters actually take you to other dungeons. So you'll end up in a cave, a crypt, or one of the ancients. And every time you go in, it's designed to change.
And there's dozens of villages and towns that you will run into.
The cities and towns are designed to be hubs. They're havens. They're places where you can find other players. They're good places to do all of your usual inventory management.
Each region has its main city that you can get lots of side quests and lots of activities.
We've really crafted the world to feel like there's always something just around the corner to find.
I like that.
In Diablo 4, you actually get to walk Sanctuary.
It's a massive place that you can seamlessly explore with no loading in between zones, which is something brand new.
Yeah, that
It's
is
a
actually
very
new.
immersive experience.
What I love about it is that you can go in a direction and you might be searching for a particular quest or an item, and you'll come across a stronghold that you haven't explored before. You'll come across dungeons that have legendary affixes, or you
So
might
it's
discover
true open
a
world.
side quest that you didn't even
Yeah,
know about.
you're going to be
that
able to climb. You're going to be able to probably slide down things. And ultimately, it is a true open world game.
fills in some bit of lore that you actually were interested in. There's any number of things that can happen along the road to your destination, and that's what I love about having this fast space.
There are tons of different types of events in the world. It's been created to feel full of things to encounter, full of secrets to discover, full of characters to interact with, full of stories to find. We have these altars to Lilith that if you can find them, they will give you a permanent buff to all of your characters across the game. There are tons of them hidden everywhere. We also have these massive world bosses that are so big the camera actually has to pull out even further. And you're gonna
Yeah,
have an
boy,
opportunity
look
to
at
fight
that.
these
Imagine, dude, if anyone tells me Diablo isn't an MMO, I'm gonna shit myself. You are there with a shit ton of other people taking on these world bosses, and just look at this thing. This is nuts.
bosses with your friends or with strangers to take down these huge world bosses.
And the team has done just an incredible job making Sanctuary a world worth exploring and a world worth investing yourself in.
Yeah, boy. Pre-purchase now, get beta access, get beta early access. Man, this pisses me off a little. Although you only get it like a little earlier, March 17th. Shit. And then March 24 to 26 for the open beta. Ooh, boy. Are we going to be playing the beta? I think yes. I think yes is the answer to that question. Dude, this looked a little sick. I'm very hyped for Diablo 4. It really does feel like Blizzard is getting back to their roots of game design. You know, they tried the whole engagement first metric, with Diablo 3, they really wanted to get engagement, so they had this whole seasonal system that basically changed nothing. It's just the same thing over and over and over again every season. They tried that in World of Warcraft as well. And I think ultimately what Blizzard learned is it doesn't work. That kind of design eventually just loses a lot of its muster, a lot of its success. Like, people cared about it for a little while and then just moved on. It's more like a closed beta for people who are pre-purchasing. Yeah, it's a little annoying. I'm not going to be pre-purchasing it. I'll play the open beta when the open beta comes out. I don't like pre-purchases, and I specifically despise pre-purchases when they come with things like early access, because, you know, now you're just sort of biting people into shit, which I genuinely don't like. So yeah, I'll just play it when it's open beta. Yeah, the open beta is definitely going to be a stress test to see if the servers and the game can handle it. We'll be playing it, definitely. Anything for some extra cash? I don't... Look, I never used to care about pre-purchasing. Like, there was a time where I genuinely didn't mind. I would buy games early, no problem. The issue today, so often, is that you pre-purchase a game, and more often than not, what you were told you were going to get isn't what you get. And so pre-purchases have almost turned into a, let's see how much money we can make before people get disappointed. Because if we don't, a lot of people will see the anger and the outrage about how bad our game is, and then they won't buy it. So the pre-purchase is sort of designed to get the money early. Of Halo 2, when I got a free t-shirt with it, I mean, I don't like the free shit that they give with pre-purchase, but at the same time, I understand why companies are doing it. I just really, if you're gonna do a pre-purchase, make sure that what you promise is what you give. So imagine, for example, we had the pre-purchase, people were buying the game, and then the game launches, but they deactivated world bosses. Just because, you know, it didn't work, and they didn't have time to fix it, so they just deactivated. That's sort of the problem that I have with pre-purchases, because that happens often, especially in the AAA industry landscape, where you'll get all of these grand promises to sell the game early, and then when the game launches, most of that's just been watered down and sort of, you know, never mind. We couldn't actually do that. The Fallout 76 tote bag drama. Oh shit, that was the funniest crap ever. Fallout 76 provided so much content. It was how I was on Dragonflight. I waited 1.5 months before purchasing it. I also didn't pre-purchase. I purchased Dragonflight, I think. What did we do? I think it was like a week or so before the game went live, just so that we could install it. That was basically the only reason I pre-purchased. It's just so that it can be installed, so I can play day one. Ghost Recon, Breakpoint pre-purchase early access. Yeah, but that, now you're talking Ubisoft, and we all know just how bad Ubisoft is. If there is a company in this world that is worse than Blizzard, it's Ubisoft. Let's be honest about this, right? Ubisoft is what every single person should hate with a passion. I feel like Ubisoft, like EA, started the evil bullshit, right? So EA started the evil bullshit. Blizzard sort of tried to make the evil bullshit work, but obviously it didn't go so well for Blizzard. And then Ubisoft perfected it. Like, Ubisoft took the evil bullshit and really took it next level. Ghost Recon and The Division. And so it took a while, besides for me to jump into the Owl story. I still haven't even done that. they wanted to do NFTs. I don't think they're doing it anymore since EFTs have now lost most of its value. I mean, I'm sure the CEO of Ubisoft is very angry at the... As soon as they decide to get into NFTs, it loses its value. It's like, oh shit, it's crashing. You mean this Gamas didn't go? Shit. Such, bro. They're doing Rainbow Six Siege for me, honestly. I never played that, so no idea. I'm not a huge fan of Ubisoft games. The last time Ubisoft had a good game, in my opinion, would be the first 3 Assassin's Creeds. After that, it's all just been downhill for me. All right, let's get into the video for today, because this is the one, boys. This is the one. All right, so, ladies and gentlemen, I promised you guys massive spoilers and also huge lore for today. And that's exactly what I'm about to deliver. Now, I would say that what we're going to be going through here, it is pages from the Naga. That's right, the Naga has shown up in Dragonflight, which should excite everyone. Remember the last time we heard from the Naga, Queen Azshara said that she is going to find the ultimate throne of power. And then we never heard from her again. And we were speculating, obviously, what could that throne be? Where could that power have come from? What power is she even referring to? The Naga is here in force, ladies and gentlemen. And it is speaking about that. And more, actually. Now, I would say that this lore that we're going to be discussing today, I would put at the same level as things like the Il'gynoth Whispers, or the Xal'atath Whispers, or even the Old God Whispers way back in Legion BFA. It was lore that basically changed the landscape of World of Warcraft, changed the way in which we think about the game. This is very similar to that. So I'm very excited for it. Another thing that you have to understand is this is, again, an in-game book. And if you haven't sort of caught on, World of Warcraft have been spending a lot of time in Dragonflight on in-game books, which I think is perfect. And it actually, in my opinion, makes sense for World of Warcraft. World of Warcraft, as we know from the Preach interviews, have always been about gameplay first, which kind of makes storytelling in World of Warcraft very difficult. It's very hard to tell a good questline story in World of Warcraft because gameplay has to be first. Since, surprise, surprise, many people don't care about the lore. Most people in World of Warcraft simply do the quests because they want to get to the other side. So you can't have storylines where you keep someone occupied for hours with the same story. You can't have Final Fantasy level storytelling. But this takes care of that, because the books are there for us that love the lore and really want to know more about the story. It's there for us. It gives us backstory on what exactly we're going to be experiencing. And for those that don't care about the lore, well, they'll just throw the book away, right? And they don't need to care. And Same Raven, you are correct. Books have been in the game forever, but for the last few years, their sort of use cases have become more and more limited, where Blizzard would sort of no longer indulge them as much. Whereas if you compare what Dragonflight has to any of the previous expansions, Dragonflight has now have almost 4 books just in the first patch cycle. There's 4 in-game books that changes the lore quite dramatically, which I think is very large and good in my opinion. But okay, let's get into it. As always, ladies and gentlemen, there's going to be a lot of speculation here. There's going to be a lot of discussion. If you just wanted to get the news on what is in these books, this is probably not the right place for you. But all right, rise, rise. Our queen calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. She has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. Now, circle of stars. This takes us back. This takes us back to the whispers of Il'gynoth. To find him, drown yourself in the circle of stars. And we have speculated a lot about what the Circle of Stars could be. This makes me think we have never seen it, because we thought about it. We thought that maybe we found the Circle of Stars. There was a lot of speculation at the time, especially in the Emerald Nightmare raid, where you go to the final boss. Now I'm blanking on Xavius. When you go fight Xavius, it looks as if you're drowning yourself in a Circle of Stars in order to get to Xavius. So we had speculation theories on that could be the Circle of Stars. Then, of course, it was in Deepholm. We also sort of thought that maybe the Maelstrom. So if you go to the Maelstrom in World of Warcraft and you look straight up, there's like a circle formed by stars, like a literal, genuine circle formed by stars. And it almost looks as if there's a dome around Azeroth, and that circle of stars creates an opening. Now, I do think we were kind of correct, but I still don't think that was the Circle of Stars. The interesting thing here is beyond the Umbral Veil. Now, this is where I'm sort of going to combine multiple new bits of information. We know that there's a place called Avaloran in World of Warcraft. The heretics during the early ages, so when the Titan Keepers were here and they were defeating the Black Empire, there was a group referred to simply as the heretics. Now, the Keepers made it sound like these heretics were once loyal. They were either Titan Keepers, loyal Titan Keepers, but they started to question the quote-unquote wisdom of the Titans. You see, because the Titans insisted that what they had created is all that had been created on Azeroth ever. They refuted the idea that the Black Empire created anything on Azeroth, and their reasoning for it is that nothing can be created unless it had first been ordered. So their idea was that nothing the Black Empire made was actually creation because it wasn't ordered yet, and therefore only the Titans created things. The heretics questioned this. They questioned the wisdom of the Titans, and they left. They fled to a place simply known as Avaloran, a place that we've never heard of. We do know that no one that ventured there in search of the heretics ever returned. None of them returned. They were slaughtered. At least that's the story. Now, there's another place that we know of that people venture to that no one ever finds you again. And that is to the other side of Azeroth. Everything, every ship, every being that has ever tried to reach the other side of Azeroth has never returned. They're still gone. Now it says, our queen calls to us from beyond the Umbral Veil. She has transcended the Circle of Stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. What if that dome, when you stand at the Maelstrom looking up through the Circle of Stars, and it sort of looks like a dome, what if it is a dome? A veil cast around the livable spaces of Azeroth, a protective barrier, if you will, made by the Titans to ensure that whatever is outside, whatever is in Avaloran, wherever the heretics are, they can never reach Azeroth again. And this is called the Umbral Veil. And the Circle of Stars is a back door through this Umbral Veil. But anyways, we continue. The time we have long awaited is nigh. Even now, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. The Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh. So they're still alive. The first beings that were given flesh by the old gods. They're still alive, they're still somewhere. And the Harbinger is gathering the children of the first flesh. Is this mortals? What is this? I genuinely have no idea what this could refer to, who the children of the first flesh could be, but I love it. Anyways, next one. While they toil in the deep places, this makes me think that we've not seen the children of the first flesh yet, because it says here, while they toil in the deep places, we will journey to the shores of Dragonlands, to the blessed isle, where the Worldbreaker first embraced the Whispers. As one storm recedes, another rises. The torches have been lit. The secrets he buried will strike as a dagger into the hearts of his kin. The torches have been lit. The secrets he buried will strike as a dagger into the hearts of his kin. Now, what are these tortures, I wonder? What are these torches, I wonder? Perhaps it's what I said it was? The Oathstones of the Dragonflights. This would suggest that Deathwing himself corrupted these Oathstones, and perhaps not on purpose, because we know that when Deathwing was still in the Dragon Isles, Deathwing wasn't yet fully corrupted. He was hearing the whispers. And yes, he asked the old god for help, but he had not yet fully embraced the gifts of the old gods. He only heard their whispers. What if Deathwing imprisoned something? Something so evil that he needed the power of the Oathstones to keep this thing imprisoned, to keep this thing locked away. And now that the dragon aspects are seeking to reignite these fires, now that the 5 torches are trying to relight themselves, this will unlock whatever is buried there. And as it states in the book, the secrets he buried will strike as a dagger into the hearts of his kin. So whatever Deathwing has hiding here, it's a direct enemy against the Dragonflights. Next page. The Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks to end the end of order. Such rage can be bent to serve our ends. So maybe these two things are connected to each other. Maybe whatever Deathwing buried is this primal power that seeks the end of order. Now, just to go back here, because I know there's going to be people who don't quite understand it, the torches now very physically suggests 5 torches to light the way, 5 keys to open, 5 keys to open the way, 5 torches to light the path. And then another whisper from the old gods. 5 lanterns now darkened. The flame they seek will open the master's way. All of this is whispers that came out in Legion. It's lore that's been simmering since Legion, ladies and gentlemen. It's huge. It's kind of big, right? The torches have been lit. In other words, the flame they seek will open the master's way. These torches are lit now. The master's way is open. The master refers to a Void Lord. So now my question becomes, calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. What if the veil that the Titans set up to protect Azeroth from whatever is on the outside, the children of the first flesh, what if they were created by an actual Void Lord? And that's what opens the Master's way. In other words, the Void Lords are already here. They're not coming. They're not beyond some weird place. They're already on Azeroth, but they're on the other side of Azeroth. They've not been able to claim Azeroth yet. Here's where I think we've never been able to see the other side of Azeroth. We don't know what is actually there. It could be that the Black Empire still exists on the other side of Azeroth. Remember, if you listen to N'Zoth speak, if you listen to Yogg-Saron speak, if you listen to the Xal'atath Whispers, they speak of Ny'alotha not as a place that have to be rebuilt, not as a place that's been lost. They speak of Ny'alotha as if it is a place that already exists. It's not gone. It's not like they've lost it. It's not like it's been destroyed. They're just not in it at the moment. They can go there. And we are, of course, told that in order to find him, drown yourself in the circle of stars. So in order to get to Ny'alotha, you have to drown yourself in the circle of stars. That is how you get there. But anyways, the Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks to end the end of order. This is something that's now been playing over and over and over and over again throughout the whole of Dragonflight. The Jarradin despises what the Titans have wrought. They hate the Titan creations. The primal incarnates despise the Titan creations, including the dragon aspects. They blame... So Raszageth says this. The Titans did something when they created the dragon aspects, and they claim that the dragon aspect sold out dragonkind in order or by accepting the gifts of the Titans. So you have the Jarradin that despises the Titans. You have the Primal Incarnates that despises the Titans. You now have this Harbinger, which the Harbinger could be Iridikron. Remember, we are told in one of the cinematics, the reason Iridikron vexes Nosdormuso is the deals he made. Before they managed to imprison him, he was striking deals with a lot of beings. So it's possible that Harbinger is Iridikron, the one that will usher in the end of all order. Such rage can be bent to serve our ends. A hunger lost to the ages will be reclaimed. A dark heart left broken awaits the taking. What if Galakrond isn't dead? What if Galakrond isn't actually dead? A hunger lost to the ages. What do we know of that's been more hungry than anything on Azeroth ever? Galakrond. His bones are there, but it says very specifically, a dark heart left broken. After they killed Y'Siraj, what remained of Y'Siraj? His heart. Right? What if it's the same for Galakrond? After Galakrond was killed, the one thing that they could not kill of him was his heart. And what do the Titan Keepers do better than anyone? They imprison. They put things away. They lock them away. The heart of Galakrond. a hunger lost, a primal power that seeks the end of order. It's possible. I'm not saying it is the case. We don't know. The only story we know of Galakrond is the flashbacks seen through the lens of a Titan artifact that could have been changed. It's Tyr, after all. He could have been lying. He could have changed the visions. He could have changed the way that the dragon aspects remember things. They have that ability. And then page 4, here's where things get really spooky. When these things come to pass, the Harbinger will fulfill the final prophecy and complete the awakening. Only then shall our queen return to reign over sea and sky and earth. We must make ready. Rise, rise. Soon all that was hidden will be revealed. How many times have we heard that we don't understand? That we don't see? How many times? Constantly. Everyone tells us that we don't understand. We don't yet see the truth. Xal'atath said it multiple times. Because something that is hidden will be revealed. The truth of our world, the truth of the history of our world. The one question becomes, will we just automatically join the Titans? Or is there something bigger going on? Will there be something bigger? Have Azshara truly gone to claim the ultimate throne of power? And what exactly is that throne? What is in that throne? And Saban Raven, to answer your question there, it can be bent to serve our ends. Galakrond simply ate. That's it. That's all Galakrond ever did. He ate. Galakrond didn't serve anyone's needs, but they believe that they can bend Galakrond to serve their needs. In other words, not to simply eat indiscriminately, but to actually have a goal, have a purpose, set out with that purpose. Be the dragon that you were meant to be, the weapon that you were meant to become. That's why they need to bend him, to ensure that he actually does what is required and opens the way for the masters. That's what I believe the whole point is here. There's lower route and no more of Cliffhang Shadowlands fate. I love this. This blows my mind in so many ways because it takes so many of the whispers that we've spent so many fucking years now dissecting and exploring, and it gives it purpose. It gives us sort of a focal point now from which to start looking and saying, okay, if this is true, then that and that and that and that and that might also be true. This is incredible. Of course, there's a couple of questions that remain here. The Harbinger could be Eridikron, could be something else. The hunger that's been lost to the ages could be Galakrond, could be something else. It would depend. There's still quite a few other whispers that may actually rear its ugly little head. The Lord of Ravens shall turn the key. We still don't quite know who that is. We still don't know who that is. Odin? We know that Odin is poised to make a return. He's finally free. He's no longer stuck inside a prison of his own making. And Odin would fit the Lord of Ravens. Khadgar would fit the Lord of Ravens. And that they will turn the key. Right now, the one thing that the dragon aspect sort of miss is a Titan Keeper to give them their power back, because the Titan Keepers were the only ones that understood the ritual. They understood how this power needs to be given back. So what if the Dragon Aspects manage to reignite all of the Oathstones? They manage to do everything that they think they should be doing in order to get their power back, and then they realize, but it doesn't work. We are then sent to Odin to ask Odin to help, because we need the Dragon Aspects. Odin, even though he's never been a fan of the Dragon Aspects, recognizes that this might be a good time for him to get some, brownie points. Or not necessarily brownie points, but get some favors owed to him, because Odin likes deals, after all, right? And Odin then turns the key. Odin is the one that gives them their power back. But that key that is turned now lights the way for the Masters. The journey completes itself. And how do we get here? When we venture back in time to the days of the Black Empire, N'Zoth says to us, I know you. I know what you have done. How do you defeat an enemy that understands the future, that knows what's going to happen even before it happens? How do you defeat an enemy whose own kind says that even in defeat, the God of the Deep ultimately wins? You set things up, if you're N'Zoth, in such a way that your death starts the domino effect. And the domino effect leads to the ushering in of your own masters. Your master, perhaps stuck in Avaloran, perhaps a Void Lord, perhaps something far greater than that even. I don't know what the actual truth is here, but I do know that this is huge. This is crazy. What do you guys think of it? Do you like it? Perhaps something like Azeroth's Avatar would be huge? Maybe. N'Zoth was just testing us to see if we can topple a cosmic level entity, which we will have to fight like the Titans. Well, N'Zoth made it very clear that he's just testing us consistently. To his name, the betrayer? Kyle, I don't think that's why she called him a liar. I think she called him a liar because he believes what isn't true. His fight is wrong. He rejected the truth. He rejected the actual truth that was in front of him. Interest in us visiting? Oh yeah, Lassie Babbitt, very, very true. We make the story so much more interesting than what Blizzard eventually gives us. Massey, but that's not been true in Dragonflight. That's not been true in Dragonflight. You are correct that in Battle for Azeroth and in Shadowlands, we made the story far more interesting than what the story actually was. So far in Dragonflight, it's actually been more interesting than what I could even speculate. There's been a few times now that Dragonflight has blown my mind with the direction that Blizzard has decided to take it. And in a good way. Not the kind of thing where Blizzard takes it in a direction and I go, oh, for fuck's sake, really? That's what you're going to do? Not, at least it has not happened yet in Dragonflight. If it has potential to be amazing, oh yeah. I think Khadgar is the Lord of Ravens. He's way more involved in the story, and him and the Blue Dragons are researching the arcane powers of the Blue Flight and unlocking more arcane magic. I think he's going to stumble and do something accidentally and open the path to the Old Gods. It's interesting that they would bring Khadgar back, isn't it? D-Rocker, you may have a point there. Because why bring Khadgar back? Why bring Khadgar back, really? If not, the Lord of Ravens needs to turn the key. Because Khadgar, we said this in Shadowlands. Khadgar should have been present in the Shadowlands, and yet he was, but only in his Raven form. And now Khadgar shows up in Dragonflight, but so far Khadgar hasn't really been needed in Dragonflight. If you think of Khadgar's presence in Dragonflight, it's largely been his cheerleader, right? Like, he's not actually done anything. He's not actually been necessary in any way. So it is possible that Blizzard brought him back specifically because he is the Lord of Ravens that shall turn the key. This book actually be Zereth Umbrus. I don't know, Lemon, because where would Zereth Umbrus be? Which origin zone would you say that is? So far, Apocalypse, Khadgar's involvement has been in only two threats. The Legion threat and the Old God threat. That's where Khadgar has involved himself almost consistently. Legion threat, Old God threat. Otherwise, we rarely if ever see Khadgar. Present in Legion, Legion threat. Present in BFA, Old God threat. It's true that he is successor to the Guardian title without the whole infuse ritual. Yeah, I mean, he's not the Guardian of Tirisfal, right? He rejected that title, but he still basically does what the Guardian would have done in the first place. So, at the end of the day, he has the staff, he can turn into a Raven. If anyone's gonna be the Lord of Ravens, it's gonna be Khadgar. You could say Medivh, but right now Medivh is tied to Karazhan. Medivh doesn't leave Karazhan. His soul is in Karazhan. So we'd first need to be able to get him free of Karazhan. Unless, of course, the key is somewhere inside Karazhan. That's where the turning happens. Thumb 1. There's so many questions in questions here. There's so many questions in questions here, which is usually what makes the lore of World of Warcraft good. Even more simple than Echo, it's Titan power. Every time Khadgar has been involved, it has been to do with Titan soul energy. You could say that. But then again, wherever there's old gods and wherever there's Legion, there's Titan soul energy, right? Because they both seem to be very connected to that. So yeah, that is true. I can follow that. Soul energy is the big thing that can cause a Void Lord to manifest. Do you guys think we'll finally see an actual Void Lord manifest? Because that would break the bank. To see this Lord. But now my big question becomes, will we just automatically fight on the side of order? Or will we not necessarily be able to choose, but decide to stand neutral and fight both? Someone we know they can manifest in reality. We know that. Xal'atath tells us to ask the Ethereals what a visit from one of the Masters looks like. So we know they've done it before. It takes great effort, but they can do it. Now, the Ethereal planet wasn't rumored to have a Titan World Soul. Azeroth does. A Void Lord, in order to manifest within our reality, requires an immense amount of energy to keep itself anchored here. what could be more powerful than a Titan world soul? Every force in the universe? Saston, I would love that. You're speaking my language now. As per two, Blizz hasn't really been known for creating good player choice options outside of factions, so they're probably going to stick us on one. You see, I don't want player choice. Because the thing, okay, so the problem is when you're playing an MMO, player choice is very difficult to achieve. You can do it sort of like Star Wars, where you give the player choice over menial things, personal stories that doesn't really affect the larger story. But once you try to give players choice over large story decisions, it's almost always going to turn into a mess. This is one of the reasons why the loyalist choice didn't work out. Because for the loyalist choice to work, both sides would have had to win. Sylvanas would have had to win, so that the loyalists felt that they had made the right choice. But then also, the people fighting Sylvanas would have had to win, so that everyone else felt that they made the right choice. You can't have both win, since what in the win conditions for both sides is literally the lose condition for the other. So ultimately, you were stuck between a rock and a hard place, where someone had to lose. And they ended up making the decision that they're just going to sort of sacrifice the loyalists in order to keep telling the story. So I don't want choice. What I want is neutrality. In other words, the mortals of Azeroth say, screw the Titans, screw the cosmic forces, we'll fight everyone. We no longer want to be allied with any of you, because you're all bastards and you keep fucking us over. So from now on, it is us and our planet, Azeroth, versus the world. And we'll just fight all of you. Fuck you all. That's what I want, because I think that's what leads to more and more interesting storytelling. No, not back to borrow powers. Zaston, long ago, I had, like, this is really long ago. This was back my first videos, even, in speculation. I had a theory. We know that the old gods are said to try to corrupt a world Titan soul, right? Or a Titan world soul. And the argument that we heard from the Titans, at least, is that such a Titan would destroy all reality because it would be too powerful. But my speculation at the time was, what if the reason the old gods corrupt a Titan world soul isn't to create some dark Titan, but to create a vessel for a Void Lord? So in other words, a Void Lord can't exist in our reality without massive amounts of energy. But a Void Lord could potentially exist inside of a Titan soul. Because it would have unlimited energy. Titan souls are incredibly powerful. They're endless in their supply. And Azeroth happens to be the most powerful of all Titan souls. So if a Void Lord could manifest within Azeroth as its host, that Void Lord could potentially manifest in our reality and stay indefinitely. Because as much as it would feed on the soul or the essence of Azeroth, Azeroth would just create more essence. So it's literally the perfect anchor. Because when the Void Lord tried to anchor itself to the ethereal home planet, the planet itself got consumed in the process, because the planet literally can't make more of itself. So it eventually consumed all of the planet. But a Titan, living Titan soul could continuously recuperate its own energy and its own energy stores so that it basically reaches equilibrium. And the world, the Void Lord, can remain in our reality forever. Cassiel, yes, you did miss the spoilers. We're literally still talking about it. That's how huge this is. But by the way, some love in chat to Cassiel. She was the one that sent this to me on Discord. I think the thing the Titans found in Zeroth Ordis was the method to manifest themselves in reality. I would say that Zeroth Orders is where the Titans were created, Zastin. Not how they manifest in our reality. I don't think the Titan origin story is true at all. I think the Titan origin story is a nice story, but that's exactly what it is. It's a lie. That's where they were created. They're no different to the Eternal Ones. They're just created beings meant to keep order. I think the Titans are the minions of the other force. Well, it would be that would actually be very plausible, considering the Titans draw themselves as part of order, but somehow they find they also originate from a place called Zeroth Orders, and they're not in the realms of order. They're in reality. Why are they in reality? Have we ever even seen the true gods of order? By that extension, have we ever even seen the true gods of death? Jay Raven, 24 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And also, Lassia's Babby, 20 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. In Ottawa, I agree with you 100%. On that note, I think it may actually be a good idea now to go through the Whispers of Il'gynoth. So this is from Mercer, who basically asked me to go through these Whispers of Il'gynoth. So maybe we find some nuggets of truth in the old Whispers. Do we think the Titans have actually visited? By the way, such Justin, thanks for the first time chat, dude. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do we think the Titans have actually visited Zeroth Orders, or do we just think that they know of its existence but can't access it? They say that the mortal should never know of Zeroth Orders, or what happened there, or what happens there. So clearly they know more than just of its existence. They have to, right? You do bring up an interesting point, considering the Eternal Ones were never allowed to go to Zereth Mortis. After their creation, they weren't allowed to go back. So it is possible that after the creation of the Titans, they know what happens in Zereth Orders, because, well, the Eternal Ones knew what happened there as well, but they can't go there. So it is possible that both of those things could be true at the same time. They've been there, they know about it, they know what happens there, but they haven't been back there since their creation. Thumb1, 16 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Wait, actually, you bring up a good point. If a Void Titan awakens, it will destroy all reality. What is Azeroth on the cosmic map? And why does the Titans keep her asleep? What if she's already a Void Titan and they're keeping her asleep? D-Rocker, it wouldn't be too far-fetched. If you go back to Ulduar and the fight against the Constellar... Oh, what's his name again? I hate blanking on things. Fuck my life. What's the Consular in Ulduar called again? Come on. Algalon. Thank you. Yes. Jesus. Names, bro. There's too many names. If you go back to the fight with Algalon, Algalon says that the planet is already corrupted to the point where re-origination is the only option. And then, of course, we defeat Algalon, and this tells Algalon that, no, it's fine, probably. We could handle the corruption of the planet. And the planet can be left. The question is, what was already corrupted so much that re-origination was the only point? Was it just the world of Azeroth that's been that corrupted, or was it Azeroth's soul itself that was that corrupted? One of the documents in Ulduar, there was a mention of wonders bestowed upon Titans in Zeroth Orders. Well, yeah. But I mean, we have the book now where Tyr speaks about Zeroth Orders. Odin speaks about Zeroth Orders and how mortals are not allowed to know about Zeroth Orders. So there's plenty of reasons to believe that what we see, or what we've been told, isn't true. Anyways, let's get into the Whispers of Il'gynoth. Now, Mercer asked me to take a look at this, and then, of course, we had Cassiel that shared the amazing breakthrough lore that is a Harbinger, Queen Azshara visiting or breaking through the Umbral Veil, the Circle of Stars, all of these Whispers as they used to be. So we're going to revisit the Il'gynoth Whispers. Last week, we revisited Xal'atath's Whispers, and there was some very interesting Whispers there. So let's take a listen, chat, you and me together, and see if there is things that we may have missed. Whether there are things that we may have missed. Is or are, not entirely sure. Are probably better. But okay.
The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lies will he offer you.
Right out of the gate, we start with a whisper that we all but know the truth of. The boy king has to be Anduin. None of the rest makes sense there. The boy king serves at the master's table. 3 lies will he offer you. Which 3 lies? Now, if we start arguing about Rathian, and we have done so in the past, I always come back to the what makes Rathian a king? Only the fact that he will or believes to be the next Black Dragon aspect? Is that enough? Do the aspects consider themselves kings? We know that Queen Azshara is called Queen Azshara, but she's called Queen Azshara because she is considered to be the queen of dragonkind. The aspect of the Black Dragonflight isn't a king, because they're not the consort of the Queen of Dragons, which would be Azshara. Could be king at the end. It is possible, but then what happens to Azshara? Alexstrasza, not Azshara, sorry, yeah. I'm still thinking about Azshara and the previous, books that we've gone through. Alexstrasza, sorry, yeah. Not Azshara. Alexstrasza, the Queen of Dragons. But she's the queen because she's the queen of dragons. She was considered, or she was chosen as the leader of dragonkind. That's not true for the Black Dragon aspect. But Rathian would make more sense than Anduin. 3 lies will he offer you? What lies? That boy has lied a lot, and I feel like it's been more than 3. One of them could certainly be the fact that he is the aspect, or meant to be the aspect. The other lie could be that he isn't corrupted, because he claimed that he isn't. What's the third lie? Do you believe the third lie is yet to come? I'd have to go look at the voice lines of Rathian. Because it might be that the 3 lies have been offered in Dragonflight itself. So 3 things that Rathian have told us since the start of... Because Rathian was part of the Drakthir early campaign. I should do the Drakthir early campaign again. Because Rathian said a lot of things in that campaign. And now with a little bit more backstory, we might be able to highlight a few lies there. Well, I'll do that. Maybe next week we'll quickly do another Drakthir playthrough and see what we can discover of Mr. Boy King.
Her heart is a crater, and we have filled it.
Has to be Azeroth, right? It can't be anything else. What else could be? It has to be Azeroth. Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. We know the old gods have buried deep inside Azeroth. We now may even already have a Void Lord on Azeroth. Might be Azshara, but I don't know if it would refer, then again. Xanazari was the heart of Alfkind. It was the heart of the kingdom of Azshara. It truly got turned into a crater. And we know that under the ruins of Xanazari, we find N'Zoth. Her heart is a crater and we have filled it.
The boy king, her heart is a crater, and we have filled it.
It could be Azshara. You guys might be correct there.
The king of diamonds has been made a pawn.
I've said this since the beginning. If you look at everything that Magni has done, right? If you look at all the actions that's been taken, yeah, it has to be Magni, right? There's no denying that it's Magni. Because who else is the king of diamonds? Literally just him. But if you look at his actions, all of his actions leads to the freeing of N'Zoth. Every single one of them leads to the freeing of N'Zoth. Without the stabbing of the planet, N'Zoth would not become strong enough to eventually break free of his prisons. Magni did not hear from Azeroth. Magni heard from N'Zoth. He thought that he was the voice of Azeroth, but he was the voice of N'Zoth. He was doing what N'Zoth wanted him to do. At least that's my opinion on it. What two whispers are linked, D-Rocker? Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. The old gods have taken over Azeroth's soul. The king of diamonds is a pawn for the old gods. That's again if we say that they've already taken over Azeroth, which right now there's no evidence for, but that would mean that we've already lost, right? Now, the opposite could be very true, and that would be that Azeroth is the mother of the old gods. Now, if we start looking at these whispers as Azeroth being the mother of the old gods, that kind of makes things a lot more interesting.
Have filled it.
Her heart is a crater and we have filled it. We are her children. Right? We are part of her. A mother holds her children in her heart. Right? That's where her children lives. She loves her children. And if they are her children, it makes sense.
The king of diamonds has been made a pawn.
And that would make sense too.
At the hour of her third death, she ushers in our coming.
We've never been able to establish this, because it's not Sylvanas. She's had 4 deaths. It has to be Azeroth, but the first death for Azeroth would be Y'Shaarj being pulled out of the planet. The second death for Azeroth would be the Great Sundering, and this took place when Sargeras tried to come through the portal, right? That's the second death. The third death would be the sword. Now, we have to also understand that the old gods play a very, very long game. So for them, that sword being stuck into Azeroth could be the beginning of them being ushered in. So it is entirely plausible that that was the hour of her third death, and that is how she ushered them in. Azshara, because I see many of you in chat saying that, actually makes a hell of a lot more sense when you start thinking about it. At the hour of her third death, she ushers in our coming. Azara's first death. Her city gets pulled under the ocean, and she gets offered a way out by becoming Naga. Her second death is at the hands of mortals, where she barely escapes with her life. Her third death is to come. And it is at the hour of her third death. It doesn't say that she will die, simply that she will be near death when she ushers in their coming. So it is to come. Your effect, exactly. Exactly that.
From the earth he draws strength. Our earth. Our strength.
What if that's Iridikron? What if it's speaking about Iridikron? He is the primal incarnate of Earth. We know that he struck many deals. Deathwing, obviously, but Deathwing at this point is already dead. Saston. Deathwing has already turned on. Jellyboy, thanks for the first time chat, by the way. Really appreciate that. Malfurion Stormrage, not quite right now anymore. He's already in Ardenweald. Spoiler alert for anyone that hasn't played that storyline yet. But he's in Ardenweald. So Malfurion Stormrage, at least for now, is out of the picture. It could still be Rathian, but Iridikron would make more sense. Especially if we link it to these pages. The Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks the end of order. The Harbinger. What if Iridikron is that Harbinger? And Il'gynoth here saying, from the earth he draws strength. Our earth. Our strength. It could be Sibelian too, who is still corrupted. All black dragons right now, you'd be remiss if we ignored the black dragons. So I'm right there with you guys. The black dragons have to be kept in mind here because, well, black dragons are linked to Azeroth intrinsically. That's literally where their power comes from. So whatever corruption is on Azeroth will almost guaranteed be in them. And they will feed on it, because that's where their power comes from in the first place. Well, didn't they say the Harbinger is the queen? No, they sort of speak about the Harbinger and the queen as two different beings. We can go through it again, just to make sure that I didn't misunderstand. Rise, rise, our queen calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. She has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. The time we have long awaited is nigh. Even now, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. While they toil in the deep places, we will journey to the shores of the Dragonlands, to the Blessed Isle, where the Worldbreaker first embraced the Whispers. As one storm recedes, another rises. The torches have been lit. The secrets we buried will strike as a dagger into the hearts of his kin. The Harbinger speaks of a primal power that seeks the end of order. Such rage can be bent to serve our needs. A hunger lost to the ages will be reclaimed. A dark heart left broken awaits the taking. And then when these things come to pass, the Harbinger will fulfill the final prophecy and complete the awakening. Only then shall our queen return to reign over sea and sky and earth. We must make ready. So the Harbinger and the queen isn't the same thing. Rise, rise, soon all that was hidden will be revealed. The Harbinger and the queen, two different beings. It is possible that it might be Iridikron that's being spoken about in this whisper.
Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below.
We thought that this may have been the Sunwell. You think that's Azeroth? Every time they speak of Azeroth, they say her. They speak of her. Why would they now become it? Its surface blazes bright. It is a thing, not a person, not a being. This might be a stretch, but what if it's Deathwing's sister who's the Harbinger? Adamantia. Possible. Very possible. Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below. Elune? Specifically the White Lady? Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below. Isn't that what a moon does? A moon is actually dark, but the sun reflecting off of a moon makes a moon shine. But a moon is actually dark. A moon doesn't shine on its own. So it could be Elune, right? Yeah, the Elune, perhaps the duality. We saw the duality of Elune. Elune is a moon, bright, giver of life almost. But when her vengeance was invoked, Tyrande became the Night Warrior. A very dark and powerful being that eventually consumes its host. So it is entirely possible that this may actually be Elune. Its surface blazes bright, masking shadows below.
To find him, drown yourself in the circle of stars.
And we fucking speculated so much about what the Circle of Stars could be. And now it says she has transcended the Circle of Stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. So we clearly don't know what the Circle of Stars is. We've not encountered it yet. Now, I still think it may be the Maelstrom. I still think it could be the Maelstrom. But it could also not be the Maelstrom. So the final gate to get to the actual Soul of Azeroth, or to get through the Umbral Veil, which might be the thing that encases all of Azeroth. So when you look at a map of Azeroth, let's just quickly pull this up. So if you look at this map, imagine if all of this is kept in a veil. So all of these planets, or continents, are kept in a veil where nothing can get in and nothing can get out. We know that nothing can get out because any ship that has ever tried to sail to the other side of Azeroth has never made it back. So either you can leave, but then once you're out, you can't come back, or you can't leave and you can't come back, and it kills you if you try to get through it. Unless you unless you can go through the Circle of Stars, in other words, through a back door that's been created within that umbral veil, if that makes sense. What does umbral mean? What's the meaning of umbral? Shadow. Umbral is derived from the Latin umbra, meaning shadow. It is also the Spanish and Portuguese word for threshold, and sometimes used as a surname in that language. So umbral means shadow, or threshold. The umbral veil, the threshold, the shadow veil. I'm going to go with my theory because I think my theory is cool. I'm sure all of you have your own theories. By the way, love by proxy. 2 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate ya. Thank you, thank you, thank you. You're far too kind. All right, let's get back into the whisper, shall we?
5 keys to open our way. 5 torches to light our path.
Bro. Doesn't it say that? Doesn't it say that the torches have been lit? The torches have been lit. The secrets he buried will strike as a dagger into the hearts of his kin. It can only be this. The Oathstones. Someone, this is from the Forbidden Reach. It has to be. It has to be that.
5 keys to open our way. 5 torches to light our path. Flesh is his gift. He is your true creator.
And there we have another one. Bro, these whispers are so linked. Because it says here, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. Now, first flesh could also be protodrakes. It is said that the protodrakes were created within the elemental realms, right? They come from the elemental realms. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. The Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. Jealous, but they're not flesh. The elements are not flesh. The protodrakes are flesh, but the elements are not. Yeah, like normal, Old God Whispers will drive you crazy. Welcome back to the days of Legion, where me and chat would spend fucking hours listening to the whispers of Il'gynoth, trying to figure out what they mean.
The Lord of Ravens will turn the key.
Khadgar is back this expansion. For what reason? He's not done anything yet. Except if his job has not turned up yet. Khadgar or Odin. It could be Khadgar or Odin. Yes, you guys are very correct, right? But right now, my money is sort of on Khadgar, just because the key, the Lord of Ravens will turn the key. The key that will be open, or the key that will be turned, is the key that opens the Master's way, right? And we already know that it is the 5 torches, or the lanterns, that is darkened that needs to be relit to open the Master's way. So all of these things have to be connected in some way. Odin will never turn that key. Odin hated the dragons when they first were created. He was actually the one Titan Keeper that said no to the creation of the dragon aspects. So Odin would almost never do this. I highly doubt that Odin would go down this road. So I genuinely don't think it's Odin. It has to be either Khadgar or Medivh. Medivh, you have a problem because Medivh is stuck in Karazhan. Medivh can't leave Karazhan. That's where his soul resides now. If he tried to leave, he'd probably die. So I don't know if it would be Medivh. It's far more likely that it would be that it would be Khadgar. He was preparing to return in another form or something to that effect. Yeah, but I don't know if we've seen anything like that. Any chance the Master could be Murozond? No. No, the old gods would not refer to Murozond as their master. Unless, of course, I'm really correct in one of my most far out theories to date. So I have a very old theory. They it's not even necessarily that old. It's just it's so unlikely that it might just be likely. But my theory is that perhaps Morazon created the void in the first place. And the way I arrive at that theory is sort of timeline fuckery. Because, and I'm going to need paint for this, because how else am I going to fucking explain this? All right, so if you have the timeline, right? So imagine this is a timeline, this is the beginning, and this is the end, right? Here's your timeline. Now, things happen in this timeline. We might be here, or we might be here, you know, wherever we may be. We don't know right now within the timeline where we are. We know that the end time is the hour of twilight, right? So the hour of twilight is the end time. This is where everything ends. And that's according to everything that Nosdormu saw, everything that Morazon saw. Everything ends with the hour of twilight. It's almost as if that is a moment that can't be escaped from. It has to happen. The hour of twilight, of course, is the moment that the old gods consume the universe. Now, my oldest theory to date is that the Titans say that everything, the universe and all things in it, started in an ocean of light. So my theory is that this is a cyclical system. So in other words, there's been multiple times, and this comes from the Whisper of Xal'atath, where she says, did the Naru tell the Draenei about the battles about those that came before them, about the endless battles and the endless cycles that we've been at war with each other? That's a Xal'atath Whisper. We went through that last week. So my idea here is that as the universe comes to an end, it all forms back into an ocean of light. So this is the ocean of light, right, over here. And the darkness all around it. So the void all around it. Eventually, the ocean of light explodes, forms the galaxy, forms the timeline. The timeline plays out to the hour of twilight. And once the hour of twilight happens, it all goes back to the ocean of light. And it all starts over and over and over again. Anyways, that's sort of just a lot of an aside here. But, okay, so if we are to say that the timelines exist, right, and you have Nosdormu, right, so you have Nosdormu here, we'll just say Nosdormu at this moment in time, Nosdormu turns into Morazon, right? So this is the moment that Nosdormu turns into Morazon. Now remember that Nosdormu, thanks to the blessings of Aman'Thul, has control over the timelines. In other words, Nosdormu can visit any time on this timeline, back and forth. This means that Morazon has the exact same ability. Morazon can travel backwards and forwards on the timeline. So, Morazon currently exists at the beginning of time, as well as at the end of time, and everything in between simultaneously. Because Morazon exists on all of the timeline, because Morazon can travel all of the timeline. So this means that even though the Void Lords were created at the beginning of time, because Morazon can travel all of time, when Morazon was created, Morazon traveled back in time, created the void. Now the void exists throughout time, but the void technically didn't exist throughout time. The void is a creation that happened thanks to Morazon. Now, like I said, this is one of my more bonkers theories. All right. This is one of those theories that you come up with half drunk and completely baked out of your mind, even though I wasn't half drunk or baked out of my mind. But this is the kind of theories that you come up with when you start thinking about the old gods and timelines and stuff. But this is sort of like one of my very out there theories. Not saying that this is true, not saying that I believe it, but it is one of my theories, right? And in that sense, Morazan could be the master that they're referring to. But I don't know if I necessarily believe that. Okay, anyways. The Lord of Ravens could be Odin, could be Khadgar, could be Medivh. At least for now, those are the three options that we have.
A presence. Something new, yet familiar. Yes.
A presence, something new, yet familiar, yes. We've spoken about this at length. One of these presences could have been Xal'atath, but Xal'atath would not be new to him, so probably not Xal'atath. The other presence could be us, mortals. Something new, yet familiar. Because Il'gynoth is stuck inside the dream. The nightmare, but the dream. So it is possible that Il'gynoth has never actually seen a mortal. Something new yet familiar. This is the exact same whisper that N'Zoth gave us when we visited the Black Empire in Dragonflight. A presence.
Creator. The Lord of yet
A presence.
familiar.
Something new yet familiar. Put yourself in the position of a being that understands the timelines and know how the timelines work. We arrive in his realm for the first time ever. He's never experienced us nor seen us. Yet this is not actually the first time that he's experienced us or seen us. Because he knows the timelines. We were already there, even though we've never actually been there. But because he knows the timelines, he knows that we will be there. So it's a presence. It is something new, yet it is familiar. So he knows who we are because we have already fought him. He knows how it's going to work. Yes, I would consider WoW races to be Xenos.
Yes. Your coming was foretold in the rings. The long circle is nearly complete.
This whisper, by the way, is part of what feeds into my timeline theory. Your coming was foretold in the rings. The long circle is nearly complete. The long circle of time. In other words, this has happened before. This will happen again. It's an endless cycle. It's an endless battle. It's a battle between the light and the void. A battle for supremacy. Every single time the void wins, the light retreats back into its ocean of light, and it tries again, changing small things every single time in the hopes that it can sort of circumvent the penultimate fate of the universe, which is the Hour of Twilight. So every time they make small changes to it, this is where someone like Sargeras comes in, and this is when I came up with this theory back in Legion. Sargeras was featured very heavily. Sargeras wanted to destroy all life in the universe, not because he was actually the enemy, but because he was trying to break this cycle. Sargeras figured out what the other Titans could not. That as things currently stand, their loss is inevitable. They will inevitably die. So he decided to change something. Instead of just going along with it, keeping the order until the penultimate hour of twilight, he will change something. He will use the demons in order to destroy all life in the universe, and hopefully that resets it to ensure that the Hour of Twilight never takes place. Do you think time itself is of order? Would it not be of decay? Time would almost definitely be of both, because time both offers structure but also decay. So it would probably be a bit of both. Which, again, our theory sort of suggests that all of the cosmological higher magics is a collection of primal magics within the universe.
Come, little ones. Savor your fear as we feast upon it. rejoice.
The Old Gods keeps mentioning, by the way, deaths are coming. How you doing, bro? Thanks for the first time chat. Really appreciate that. The Old Gods keep mentioning the circle or the circle of stars. Is it possible the circle is referring to the timeline and us going back in time in Dragonflight and Azoth knowing us is in the beginning of the circle? So the circle of time is, I mean, it's definitely relevant, right? It's almost like at this point, I'm almost convinced that time is a circular concept, and that time does repeat itself, but it doesn't necessarily have to be that. Like the circle of stars, we now sort of know has to be a place thanks to this new book that's coming in patch 10.0.7. The new book suggests that Rise, Rise, our queen calls to us from beyond the umbral veil. She has transcended the circle of stars and basks in her eternal grandeur. Right? So the circle of stars is an actual place. It unless, of course, she transcended the circle of stars. In other words, she transcended time itself. It's doubtful, though, but circle of stars could be that, right? The life cycle of stars. It could definitely be that.
The end comes soon. Oblivion offers solace. Take the gift. Take it. You have failed those who needed you. Your light sputters out.
These are just combat lines, though.
Death, do not fight it.
This is again one of those wild things. The death, we spoke about this so often. Welcome death, do not fight it. And yet, we know that death is not the realm of the void. At least we now know that. And Blizzard would have known that when they came up with these whispers. But Yogg-Saron calls himself the god of death. So clearly death is not death. Not the way that we see it, at least, or what we saw.
Release your grip on hope.
Death, hope, Sylvanas, hated hope, wanted to kill all hope. There's something here. I can't connect it. But there's something here. There's some slither of truth in this that we're missing.
The pain of flesh is fleeting. True torment lasts forever. What pointless impudence! We share a master.
This is where you actually start to do damage against him. I believe when you get into his heart. We've speculated about this a ton as well. We share a master. Now, let's get back to this origin. Even now, the Harbinger gathers the children of the first flesh to reclaim what was lost. They must remember their vows and serve those to whom they owe fealty. What if we are the children of the first flesh? Because prior to us, flesh wasn't on Azeroth. They gifted flesh. We are its children because we were made flesh. And what if our forefathers vowed to battle the Titans? Remember, as soon as the gift of flesh took hold, the beings fled. The Titan Keepers tried to keep tabs on their creations, but we fled. We ran away. So what if this whisper from Il'gynoth, we share a master, what if this is what it's referring to? Being the children of the first flesh and needing to remember our vows and serve those to whom we owe fealty ties into the Keepers going out of their way to paint the Black Empire as being chaotic and completely without progress. Yeah. Why else would they want to destroy all documents of that time? All notions, everything has to be destroyed. If not for the fact that they effectively changed the past. They changed the past, and what better way than to co-opt the Master's children? So the Titans, in some very clever bait and switch, turned us from being the children of the Void, the ones who fought on the side of the Void and the Masters, into their weapon, having us, through a lot of indoctrination, we now believe that the Void is the enemy and the Titans are our friends. But if you listen to N'Zoth, N'Zoth does not regard us as the enemy. In fact, N'Zoth keeps testing us. N'Zoth doesn't want to kill us. He gifts us with his own power. The gift of N'Zoth, that's his power. Why would he do that if we were his enemy? It may actually be that he was trying to make us remember our original vows. That we vowed to fight the Titans, to fight the Order of the Titans. Stabbing the world to open her, just like shown in Oribos, sword sinks into place in other and open ways, especially on that quest in the Goofy Zone. There's so much here that can be unpacked.
Every blow struck at our heart will be repaid 1,000-fold. Out! Out! You are not yet worthy.
You are not yet worthy. This is when he chases us out of his heart chamber. This was a test. Out, out, you are not yet worthy. You're not yet worthy to kill me. You have not yet proven your worth. I'm not trying to stop you from killing me. I understand that you have to kill me. But you're not yet worthy. Again, tests all the way through. The old gods continuously testing us. For what purpose? Waraith, how you doing, bro? Thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Still you fight. Still you refuse the gift. N'Zoth, I journey to Ny'alotha.
See what I told you guys earlier? Mary, by the way, thanks for the follow. Really appreciate that. Welcome to the channel. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I told you guys this earlier. When the old gods and their creatures speak about Ny'alotha, they do not speak of it as a place that is lost. They speak of it as a place that exists. It is currently still in existence, yet we have not seen it. We've seen elements of the Black Empire, but we have not seen it. And this is where I get to the Umbral Veil. What if the Umbral Veil is a veil erected around these continents to keep Ny'alotha out? So Ny'alotha exists all around the edges here. The Titans could not destroy Ny'alotha. So all they could do is keep it out by erecting what is called the Shadow's Veil. The Umbral Veil. Or the Threshold Veil. So once you step over this veil, you step over the threshold, you enter into Ny'alotha. Because the old gods do not speak of Ny'alotha as a place that's gone, even though the Titans claim that they have destroyed it. Some good-ass lines about Titans and Order. You should listen to the raid voice lines. Link, D-Rocker, do you have any idea on who the Queen is? Oh yeah, the Queen is Ajara. These pages are from Naga. These are Naga pages. The queen is absolutely Ajara. Veil made of shadows hides the truth. Wow, that sounds so familiar. Veil made of shadows hides the truth. Where is that from? Or why does that sound so familiar to me now? Veil made of shadows hides the truth. Oh, God. That sounds super, super, super familiar to me now.
Unworthy mortals, when my kin are unleashed, we will reclaim this world for true dragonkind. The false reign of the aspects will be ended.
I remember listening to this one.
The age of the incarnates begins! Marked by lightning. Let devastation spread! Die, mortals!
Bunch of useless combat lines. Give us the juicy shit. Come on.
Nothing will be left standing. These winds peel flesh from bone.
Yeah, get to the juicy whispers. Come on.
The elements answer to me! You think the Titans brought order to this world? No!
Again, this is exactly what the Titans themselves kind of admit in their book before the game even came out. This is exactly what the Titan... Like, bro. The Titan Keepers themselves say this. Giant Rat Guy, if I don't trust her, I can corroborate her words with that of the Titan Keepers. The Titan Keeper say to the heretics, to those among you that believe that the Titans did not create everything, can something even be considered created before it's been ordered? This is from Tyr himself, effectively admitting that there are Titan Keepers who questioned the narrative that the Titans created everything, that the Titans brought order to the universe or to the world. Now Razageth says this too.
They shackled it! What they could not control, they imprisoned. Just like the aspects did to us!
They shackled it. What they could not control, they imprisoned. They shackled it. Azeroth? Decay? Galakrond? They shackled it. These are two different sentences. It speaks of two different things. First, they shackled it. So something was shackled. What they could not control, they imprisoned. Just like the aspects did to us. Old gods. Would old gods pass as it? Would they not be them? Sylvanas claims this world is a prison. Right? I don't know.
Ruin! Ruin! We will break their chains and restore the glory of dragonkind!
all of the incarnates believe that whatever gift the aspects accepted from the Titans stole the glory of dragonkind. It ruined what dragons were meant to be. She says this to Rathian as well. When Rathian tells her in the beginning in that cinematic that he wishes to be what, Deathwing wasn't, she almost loses her shit. Because even if, according to her at least, even if Deathwing was at his best, he could never be what an actual dragon would have been. And this is, if you think about what the Titans do, this is exactly what they do. They don't bring order. They limit power.
But you will not survive to witness this new age. My power surges! The might of the storm falls upon you! Minions of the storm, hear my call!
I'm just listening to see if there's any real cool ones.
Arise and unleash your power!
Someone should make a video just about the cool whispers. Or
Lightning!
voice lines.
Touch this altar with your power! The aspect's hold on us is broken. Their prison falls! Every trace of the Titan stain will be purged from this world.
And you have to understand something. Nowhere in this does it speak of the incarnates serving the void. It's only Iridikron that apparently made deals with some unknown entity. The aspects themselves, these incarnates, did not strike deals with the void, at least not according to Nosdormu. And yet they despise the Titans. They hate what the Titans have done. Why? If they're not serving the void, and the incarnates say, at least Razageth says, that the Titans did not bring order to our world, then what exactly did the Titans do to dragonkind? What was it that vexed the Titan? Because the thing is, if you listen to Alexstrasza, she makes it sound as if they weren't always enemies. It wasn't as if Razageth and Iridikron and those hated the dragon aspect from the off. Something turned them into enemies eventually.
Behold
Yeah, they were
the
classmates.
storm
Exactly.
that will cleanse the world. Pathetic. Unworthy. Your end was inevitable.
Huh. This was actually very good. Cheddar Bay Biscuits, dude, 4 months, part of the DJ Nation. Appreciate you, fam. Thank you, thank you, thank you. They could wield any magic needed. Well, their magic would have largely been unchecked, right? Their magic would have largely been whatever they are capable of channeling. Whereas now, with the aspects, their power is ordered. So, perhaps according to Razageth, limited? And it might actually make sense. It was the proto-drakes, not the aspects, that took down Galakrond. It was before they became Protodrakes. So their power was pretty immense, if you will. Could it be that the Keepers saw the powers of the Protodrakes and recognized it as problematic, and therefore decided to bring order to that power to make it controllable? In other words, another form of control. And this is what the Incarnates are fighting against. That level of control that's been introduced as a result of the ordering of their power. So we're going into Decay. The Gnolls worship Rotten Decay and use Decay magic. Yeah, well, Decay, like, look, the magic of the Gnolls is literally Galakrond. Do yourself a favor, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. Do yourself a favor, read Dawn of the Aspects. Read Dawn of the Aspects, read what is said about Galakrond, and the sort of the things that follow in Galakrond's wake, what the dragons, specifically the undead dragons, experience and how they act. It is exactly what we see with the Gnolls in Dragonflight now. Exactly the same thing. I stand with order. If the other powers, Giant Rat Guy, you stand alone, fam. I do not stand with order. I have severe trust issues with the Titans. I don't like them. I've never liked them. So I would be happy to join any force that's willing to fight the Titans. Any force. It's such a good book. Pretty sure I got it for my 14th birthday. That was such a long time ago. I literally recently reread it. Just before the launch of Dragonflight, I decided to reread Dawn of the Aspects. And fuck, am I glad I did that. Because the amount of things that you didn't sort of pick up on, and then as soon as you started playing Dragonflight, and you see a lot of these things play out, you were like, "Whoa, all right, okay, this makes a hell of a lot more sense." right on. So that was a lot of fun rereading it. What are the cosmic maps backwards? What do you mean? I said it again, Sargeras wanted to wake up mommy and make the mean kids play nice. Are we gonna settle on Azeroth being called mommy though? Is everyone okay with that being like the new designation for Azeroth? I mean, she is mother? True. But mommy is weird. You can say mother. I would agree with mother. Mommy is a bit, like, it's a bit sexual, I think. It's kind of a weird kink. I mean, Inside Out, like the most powerful in the middle. I mean, that's how I read it anyways. Sylvan chat before, they should never have been chained. Yeah, again, with the chaining thing, right? The bringing of order to something. So this was actually part of my speculation in Shadowlands, where I said that the Eternal Ones were not, as it were, the original Pantheon of Death. Death existed long before the Eternal Ones even arrived. The Eternal Ones did exactly as the Titans did. Because here's the thing. I don't think people understand just how big this is if true. Because if this is true, it means that all of the stories about the Titans ordering and creating the worlds in our universe is completely bullshit. The Titans created nothing. If the Titans weren't here, everything would still have existed, and perhaps have been far more powerful and far more free. The Titans were simply sent as a tool to create order. The same thing that the Eternal Ones do in the Shadowlands. Zuval says they will learn death was never meant to be chained. And I said, the Eternal Ones did to death what the Titans did to Azeroth. They chained it up. They created order for it. They didn't create it. Death was always there, and death is its own power. The first ones, specifically the first ones, simply imposed themselves on top of it. And here's an interesting thought. The brokers in their expedition journal suggests that the start of the universe was two powers, right? And the two powers, one of those powers became the universe. They don't know what happened to the other power. They even ask in the expedition journal, but what of the other, the one outside the cycle? What if the first ones is actually the power on the outside? What if the universe and the cosmological forces and everything created itself, right? So it was created and it was operating. The first ones, the power on the outside, then comes and imposes its own new type of order. So it basically corrupts the system that is there now. This is why the brokers can't find mention of the other power, because the other power is the first ones. What if Death created order as army against void and also to curse life? If there was no time, every living being would live forever and wouldn't age. So Death kind of feeds through order. Even eternal ones are beings of order as well. Not necessarily, because you still need a cycle of some kind, but that cycle can be corrupted. That cycle can be corrupted. It all just depends on how you do it. And even if you look at the cosmological map, maybe the cosmological map actually proves that the cycle was corrupted. Let me see if I can show you guys. Cosmological map, wow. Images. Oh. Alright. Look at this. What do you see here? What do you see here? First, let me ask, what do you see here? What are you looking at? Cartoon God, I linked you the other day. You see a cycle. Well, here's what I see. All right. I see life. I see holy. I see disorder. I see death. I see shadow. And I see order. But then when I zoom in, I see reality showcased as Azeroth. I see the Shadowlands and I see the Emerald Dream. But funnily enough, the Shadowlands isn't in Death. Death is all the way over here. The Shadowlands, as we've been sold, is in here. It's in Death. Right? That's where the Shadowlands is. It's in Death. But the map that the Titans drew up, and remember the Titans come from the Zereth realms. The same as Zereth Mortis, they come from Zereth Ordis. Their map shows the Shadowlands here. connected to reality, not in death. Why would you need a cosmic power of death if that cosmic power isn't where the Shadowlands is housed? Who put it there exactly, Halbali? Now, if you are indeed a parasitical force on the universe that wishes to corrupt the universe, what do? You build your own death and your own life, and you encapsulate it within itself, so that souls never truly go to death upon dying. Life never truly takes place in the creation of life. You lock all of the other cosmic powers out of the cycle, and you alone control the cycle within the cycle. So what happens here? Well, souls are created within the Emerald Dream, lives in reality, dies in the Shadowlands, returns to the Emerald Dream as anima, only to be created in reality again, to die in the Shadowlands again, and return as anima to the Emerald Dream. And the never-ending cycle is complete. And none of the other powers have anything to do with it. It's also interesting to me that the Titans put themselves in the side of order, and yet they exist in reality. Why would the Eternal Ones not exist in reality then as well? Yeah, everything's linked to Azeroth. Sure, everything linked to Azeroth. Did the old gods know that nothing would happen? I think the old gods are speaking about true death. Because another thing that boggles the mind, and this should boggle everyone's mind, is Yogg-Saron refers to himself as the god of death. Yogg-Saron calls himself the god of death. How? According to this map, the old gods have nothing to do with death. They're from void. They're nowhere in death. When we went to the Shadowlands, the little bit of void that we saw there was a small incursory force. So what does Yogg-Saron have to do with death? Perhaps Yogg-Saron has a lot to do with death if we're talking true death. If our speculation is true about, say, Elune being experimented on by the Titans, I could see Elune being their ticket into the realms of death and allowed them to make Order of the Shadowlands. True. Or to just build a whole new realm, thereby meaning that we have never actually been to the true realms of death. We only went to the realms of their death, this newly created death. To wax and wane through all schools and phases of life, but some start dying, vying for dominance. Simply bubble made by order. The Titans are like cops. We need them in the world. Fuck that. We don't need the Titans. Doesn't hold up with the Elune and the Winter Queen being sisters, their conversation and Autumnwheel, etc. Zastin, it does actually. Okay, so imagine this, right? You're a being, you just woke up, you find a being that's seemingly similar to you, and this being tells you, oh, by the way, I'm your sister. Would you question that? Why would you question it? This being just told you, I'm your sister. Hey. You're not going to question it. You're just going to be like, oh, okay, cool. Right? So, it doesn't have to actually be sisters. It doesn't have to actually be. Because she's not actually the sister of the Winter Queen. Someone. Interest I highlighted. What if Azeroth is the true herald of the whole cosmos of this universe side that had been separated and had been put like far away from Azeroth by the first ones? Wait, I don't understand, Digimark. Your message makes no sense because you're saying, what if Azeroth is the true herald of the whole cosmos of this universe side, but then you say that it's been separated and had been put like far away from Azeroth? That makes no sense. Your sentence defeats itself. Because Azeroth is the herald, but she's also not Azeroth, or she's far away from Azeroth. Did you mean something else? As to Winter Queen being a construct, if Zereth Mortis, we learn that to create a new Eternal, it needs to be infused with ancient souls, which are held in stasis. Yeah, I mean, I argue, at least for now, my argument is that all of the Titans that we've seen so far, including the Eternal ones, are constructs. They're built inside the Zereth realms by the first ones. The question just is, why does all of it seem to run counter to nature? Like the natural order of things. We were told that there was no order until the Titans arrived. Now we're learning, but actually that's not true. There's a lot of order, and there's been a lot of order long before the Titans arrived. The Titans simply created their own version of order. A version that they could control, perhaps. Iluna's the upstart, remember? She needed help to lock out the other old gods, so she went to the old ones. I don't know. Mary, that's also possible. In this cosmological map, weird. We saw 6 circles everywhere, but close to reality. Only 2, Emerald Dream and Shadowlands. Where are other 4 ones? No, I mean, the 6 circles just represent the primal magic and higher magic of the universe, right? There doesn't have to be 6 circles around Azeroth as well. The primal magic is, coincidentally, the thing that Razageth spawns from. Even the aspects spawn from the primal magics. Each of the aspects have a different primal magic that they come from. If Argus was enough to knock out the Arbiter, did the Titan that Sargeras cleave go to the Shadowlands too? And that would cause Zuvul to go against the first ones, leading to his exile? Interesting thought. Because something definitely turned Zuvul against his, holy mission, right? He was actually considered to be the fairest of all of the Eternal Ones. He was once considered to be the leader of the Eternal Ones. They trusted him unequivocally. And then suddenly one day, Zuvul realizes this entire system is broken. And then decides to fuck everything. Something must have happened for that moment, that light bulb moment to occur, right? If you need a Titan soul to infuse to make a new Eternal one, then that would explain why the Titans forbid the killing of their own. Interesting. Actually, very interesting, Apocalypse. Azeroth are so intertwined, Sonaria said that if Xavius won, then Azeroth would get corrupted. Or if Xavius won, Azeroth would finally be free. Heatwave. One or the other, could be either. Wasn't Zuvul the Arbiter before the Yes. Zuvul was the Arbiter. And then decided just one day seemingly to go, fuck that. I'm gonna do my own thing now. Gonna live my own life. Not gonna let my parents decide my future for me anymore. But why? Why would Zuvul decide that? Big question. These are beings that operate within a very specific framework. So for Zuvul to turn against what he was designed to do, something major must have taken place. Something major must have happened there. Zealous, that's our speculation at the minute, is that he saw something, either some kind of evil or some kind of threat that the other Eternal Ones was just not privy to. So it just didn't register for the other Eternal Ones, and that sort of was his driving force. At least that's our thing. Probably because of a goal. What else? So you think there was a goal that showed up and basically turned him into a bad boy, Golgoth? Guys do stupider things for goals. This is true. So maybe. But it must have been one hell of a goal, right? Maybe the same things Sargeras learned. Deemer, that's 2. That's 2, and that's something we've spoken about so often. You have beings that are so single-track minded, right? These Titans and these Eternal Ones, you see it. How long does it take the Eternal Ones to adapt? They refuse to adapt. They stand and watch their zones die, but they will not adapt. They refuse to adapt. The Kyrian keeps bringing souls into the Shadowlands, even though those souls go straight into the Maw, but they will not adapt the system. That's how one-track minded these beings are. They just keep going. That's it. This is our job. This is what we do. Fuck it. We're just gonna do this one thing. And yet, 2 beings that we know of turn against their programming. Seven Raven, you're completely either misunderstanding or you don't understand what happened there. The Kyrians kept bringing souls into the Shadowlands, but because there was no Arbiter, the souls flood straight into the Maw. And the Kyrians never stopped. They just kept doing what their job was. Their job was to bring souls into the Shadowlands once they die. The Kyrians could take those souls and actually put them in those zones. They don't technically need the Arbiter. Yes, technically that would be sort of spoiling the whole concept, right? The Arbiter decides where souls go, but they could do it. The Kyrians could literally just fly the soul into the Shadowlands and drop them off in Ardenweald, drop them off in Bastion, drop them off in Revendreth, drop them off in Maldraxxus. Yet they never did that. They would pick the soul up in reality, drop it into the River of Souls, and then that soul would go straight into the Maw. And they never stopped. This is how one-track minded these beings are. And yet you have 2 of them that completely just go, fuck it. I will not do what I've been programmed to do. I'm going to do something new. I'm going to go in a different way. Why? What could possibly... It has to be something huge, right? It has to be something massive that occurs to make a being that would rather watch his zone die, his world die, than go against his programming, to give up his programming and be like, no, this is not the way. I want to know how the fuck Argus broke with the Arbiter. It was Denathrius, I guess. They never explained it. Basic plot device, probably. Yeah, sadly, we have no explanation as to how that happened. This is just the storytelling stuff. Logic isn't what drives storytelling in WoW. It doesn't have to be logical. It just needs an explanation at some point, right? Like, if we're going to start talking logic, we have a problem. Because logically, there's a lot of things that happen in World of Warcraft and other games that technically can't really happen, right? So logic isn't really important here, as long as it gets an explanation at some point. Now, that explanation can be one of 2 things. Either it can be that these beings do have the ability to derive some truth if they really want to, which, you know, no other beings have ever showed this ability, but it is possible technically. Or that there must be an enemy that is so scary that it can actually snap these beings out of their default programming. Now, that's going to be then on Blizzard to create this very scary enemy. I don't know what that guy is going to look like, but it has to be something that makes you piss your pants. Because that's the only way that works. The rounds were chained. They did their best. Red guy, fuck yourself, bro. Jesus. Lol Blizzard doesn't have it in them to write that story. Everyone keeps saying that. Are you guys playing Dragonflight? I will tell you now. It is night and day the difference between Shadowlands and Dragonflight. Because the Dragonflight Blizzard clearly knows how to tell a fucking story, at least up until this point. Up until this point, I have been well surprised with the story and with the lore in World of Warcraft. I am deep into it once again. I'm loving the lore. I'm loving the game. I think the game is absolutely brilliant. I really like the direction of WoW. I did not like the direction of Shadowlands and BFA. I really despise that direction, but it does seem like this is... So I do think that this Blizzard specifically does have the ability to tell a good story. It looks like it, because right now they're doing everything that I kind of like. I like where the story is going. I like the way the story seems to be playing itself out. So yeah, I'm having fun. I do the quest where you get back to Ny'alotha, and I wonder why only Ragnaros is neutral. I wondered about that too, Inox. Actually, when we did it, I was wondering about it as well, but I couldn't give you an answer on that. Other than maybe they didn't have to corrupt the Fire Lord, because he basically wanted to fight everyone anyways. That's just what fire does. The Moloch quest was my favorite this expansion. No. I fundamentally disagree with that. The Moloch one was cool, but my favorite quest this expansion has to be the dwarf dragon that you speak to. That is my favorite quest in the game. It's a side quest. It has no action whatsoever. There's literally zero gameplay, and it is my favorite quest in the whole game. The lore dump that took place in that quest line, it was like 10 minutes, but it was fucking amazing. One of the first side quests I cared about. True. Definitely need to do more quests. Way more quests like that. So there's a couple of things that I want from Blizzard to continue in Dragonflight. More story side quests. So side quests that is purely story driven. And it can literally be the same way as that Dragon Quest, where you're just sitting there listening to the story that this guy is telling you, and it's a really cool extra story in the game that you would otherwise not get. We have the Dragon one, and then we have the Jordan one, right? The Jordan one is very similar to that, where you basically just get a lore dump of some kind. And it's really cool, because for us lore nerds, that's really fun. The other thing that I really want more of is the books. And again, it seems like Blizzard is really rising to that occasion with more in-game books. This is actually the kind of thing that would make me not hate outside books. If you wanted to write a book now that sort of tells a lot of this behind the scenes stuff that's going on, that would probably be okay. As long as everything in the game makes sense. And I feel like these books do exactly that. They help us make sense of the story. Because right now, all of the lore that's been revealed to us in Dragonflight so far makes sense to me. I don't feel the way I felt in BFA and in Shadowlands, where a lot of the time I was playing catch-up. Like, how many times in Shadowlands did I tell you guys I don't fucking know? I don't know. I can't tell you. I don't know what this is. I don't know why Zhuval wants to do what he does, because he seems to just fucking do things, right? Because nothing made sense. And then you read the Sylvanas book, and you go, oh, that makes more sense now. The problem is the book comes after the expansion, so you spend most of the expansion being fucking lost and not knowing what the hell's going on. Dragonflight, on the other hand, so far, everything that's been introduced have been introduced in such a way that it makes sense. It's been explained in such a way that you want to know more, and you look forward to more reveals, which is exactly what I want. Children of the okay, Mary, why are you asking hard questions? Do you hate me or something? Like, what? Am I not entertaining enough for you? Do you like seeing me not know what the fuck I'm talking about? I don't know who the Children of the First Flesh is. I'm trying to figure out the same as you. Right now, we've sort of narrowed it down to mortals or proto-drakes. Could be one of those two, right? It could be something that we've never, because it continues on the very next page with, while they toil in the deep places, we will journey to the shores of the Dragonlands. So, is this connected? Is the big question.